morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the 2021 Level Up Business Conference at the Ohio Black Expo. We're so happy to have you joining us today. We're amazed at the places that people are joining us from, where people have registered from, literally all across the nation, and even some international folks will join us. And we had that same thing happen last year. On the one hand, the pandemic has caused us not to be able to gather the way that we want to in person. We're not able to have our festival again this year. However, it also created opportunities by expanding our audience virtually. And so I think moving forward, even when we're back in person next year, we'll probably always have kind of a hybrid platform so that we can continue to share our content with people all over the world. So, again, thank you for being here with us. I just want to give you a little bit of the history of the Ohio Black Expo. Um, I definitely want to take some time to talk about our founder, Rhonda D. Robinson. She started the expo inspired by work that she did, I believe, when she was in her 20s on the Columbus Black Convention in the late 70s. It was her responsibility to get vendors. And the response was so overwhelming. The appreciation from Black businesses was so overwhelming that she felt that she needed to continue to give Black businesses that exposure. So she created the Columbus Black Convention, which was held here in Columbus, Ohio, at the focal point of Mount Vernon Plaza for from 1980 to 1987. It continued to grow so large that vendors were blocks away from the action, and they became kind of frustrated. So she was forced to move it downtown to the Veterans Memorial Convention Hall, where it was there for, I believe, another 3 years before it moved to Dayton and then Cincinnati. So that the last expo in person was in 1994. And we were scheduled to bring it back live last year, right after COVID hit. We were scheduled to bring it back Memorial Day of 2020. And we had hoped to be in person this year, but the restrictions were not lifting early enough for us to do that. So, but we are ready for next year. So I'll just tell you now, save the date for Memorial Day weekend 2022. We will be live in Columbus, downtown Columbus, Ohio, on the riverfront for our festival, our expo and cultural festival. We'll also have these same workshops leading up to the weekend. So if you're not in Columbus, please make plans to travel here. Stay connected to our website. We'll have travel packages up probably at the beginning of next year. So stay tuned for that. Wanted to talk also a little bit about what inspired us to have this conference today with this topic, which is from solopreneurs to job creators. Um, we're amazed at the stats that 95.8% of Black businesses in this nation have zero paid employees. So, what does that mean? You can glean from that that there are a lot of solopreneurs out there that probably aren't even paying themselves on a regular basis, just trying to make ends meet and stay afloat with their businesses. And you really just can't grow like that. It's not sustainable. A lot of Black businesses go out of business after the first year or two. You know, you're inspired to start this business, go out on your own, but it's not sustainable if you're not able to pay yourself and be able to hire great staff to help you. There are a lot of challenges and a lot of barriers for Black businesses to be able to scale and grow in that way. Some of them are systemic, a lot of them are just lack of knowledge, not understanding what it takes to get to the point where we can get the capital that's needed or the infrastructure that's needed to grow. So we want to dive into that a little bit today. We have some amazing experts that will be joining us. There'll be some presentations here early on. And then we will end the day with a roundtable panel discussion with some really dynamic experts in different areas that can help give you some information and resources to scale your businesses. So I've asked them all to be able to give at least one action item that you all can take to start you on that journey of creating jobs. So again, just really, really excited to have you all here. I'm excited to be diving into and tackling this topic and hearing from these experts. Yes, we are in Ohio. We're based in Columbus, Ohio, but the information that you'll hear today and the discussion around the challenges and barriers, they're not just happening here in Columbus, Ohio. They're happening throughout the state of Ohio and beyond. I can't speak to internationally as much because things are different in different parts of the world. But I will say these all of our attendees should be able to gain something from this content today. So I want to get ready to introduce our first guest. But before I do, I want you to hear from Kevin Black. I'm sorry, Kevin Lloyd with Columbus Black. So he has a greeting, and we're actually going to hear from Kevin a little later. He's going to lead our roundtable discussion. But please take a moment for this message.
What's up, Ohio? My name is Kevin Lloyd. I'm the founder and CEO of ColumbusBlack.com, which is the primary online resource connecting the Black community to commerce and to culture. Well, what does that really mean? Well, connecting you to commerce means that we make sure you know about Black-owned businesses and opportunities that exist right here. And we do that through our virtual series, which is our Throwback Thursday Support Black Business series, where we highlight Black-owned businesses so that you know who they are, what they do, so you can support them. Now, what about the culture side of things? Well, culture is what we're doing right here, right now with the Ohio Black Expo. So we make sure you are informed of events and activities just like this so you can enjoy your lifestyle in Central Ohio. Now, once again, we've been around for 16 years. We've really evolved into this omni-channel platform. So when you want to promote your events or your activities or your business, you can do that through our omni-channel, right? What does that mean? Through our website, through our email blast, our text blast, social media, as well as virtual events and live event activations as well. So just reach out to us at info@columbusblack.com. Now, we also provide recruiting services. So when companies are looking for you, guess what they do? They come to us in order to recruit you. So you want to make sure you follow us, not just through our website and sign up for our email newsletter when you go to columbusblack.com, but you want to make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Did I miss Instagram? I think I did. IG too. So with that being said, when you want to know what's going on in the CO, check us out at columbusblack.com. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the Ohio Black Expo.
Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate that. And we appreciate your support. We have some really great partners that are supporting the Black Expo. Again, we want you to save the date for Memorial Day. Next year, Memorial Day, the days leading up to the weekend, and definitely the weekend, all roads lead to Columbus, Ohio. And speaking of that, that's kind of a tagline that one of our other partners, a strong partner, uses. I'm not sure if any of you are aware, especially those of you that are here in Ohio, but the Classic for Columbus is bringing an HBCU Classic back to Columbus, Ohio. There was a Classic here many years ago. I think the last one was excuse me, about 25 years ago. It's coming back this year, late in the summer, so in August. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to classicforcolumbus.com. I think we'll have a promo video that we can show you a little later. But definitely go to classicforcolumbus.com, subscribe so that you can get plugged into the latest updates as it relates to that. And if you're not in Columbus, but you plan to come here, you better get your hotel room soon because they will fill up quickly. A lot of people already have their reservations in place. So go to classicforcolumbus.com to learn more about the dates and hotel locations and that type of thing. So I want to go ahead and get ready to introduce our first speaker. So excited to have her. The Ohio Black Expo is a member of COAC, which is our Black Chamber of Commerce. COAC stands for Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce here in Columbus. And if you are a Black owned business that's located in Central Ohio, there is no reason for you not to join. There is strength and power in numbers. The meetings are always powerful, always have great information, great resources. And again, just when there are also benefits available to business owners. I can't speak enough about the great work that COAC is doing and continues to grow and build. So I'll let Jill Frost speak to you about that. But first, I'd like to introduce her.
Jill K. Frost, a communications and public affairs professional with more than 15 years' experience leading community outreach, community engagement, and internal communications efforts for nonprofit and government agencies. Experienced trainer and facilitator, she is respected communications and outreach strategist with local, statewide, and regional project experience, and demonstrated ability to create and drive successful grassroots and faith outreach campaigns which yield high response rates. Through her company, Articulated Wisdom, Frost has provided community engagement and outreach support on a variety of projects ranging from issue campaigns, Franklin County Children's Services, Adam H. of Franklin County, and Columbus State Community College, to campaigns to measure the quality of life for Black girls in Ohio, Rise Sister Rise, and the Columbus Commission on Black Girls. She has also worked on community education campaigns, Everyday Democracy, and targeted prevention and mental health projects, UMADOP Federation of Ohio. Community service includes Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce, Board President, the Spirituality Network Board Chair, and National Coalition of 100 Black Women Central Ohio Chapter Education Committee Chair.
So, everyone, please welcome Jill Frost.
Thank you, Sherry.
Good morning. I'm
Good
so happy
morning.
to see you today. Listen, I've always known how amazing you are, but until you sent your bio and I read it, I said, oh, okay. You're even more amazing than I thought.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? First, let me thank you guys for doing this. That's number one. I am so excited that it's going to be in person next year. And thank you for sharing the history of what Ron Robinson has done. And I'm telling my age a little bit, but I was a volunteer for Rhonda. Gosh, it had to be at the beginning. And she worked me like a dog. Let me just say that. But what a rich history that is.
Yes.
And I think it's something, we really, really need to hear. So thank you for sharing that. We appreciate being here today. And let me just say, in all transparency, the Ohio Black Expo is an amazing member of the chamber. You guys are wonderful cheerleaders, and we appreciate it. I was glad to see Kevin Lloyd. Columbus Black is also a member of the chamber. So we are really, really glad to be here with family today.
Yes, and I think you mentioned Rhonda and volunteering for her back in the day. With the work that I do with Ohio Black Expo right now, and I've got all of these modern tools at my disposal. I have social media, I have our website,
Right.
we have YouTube and Facebook and email, all of these things, text messaging, all of these things that you didn't have back then. And I, with how much I'm working now, I just can't imagine how everyone who worked on the expo in the past, how hard you had to work. it just blows my mind. So again, thank you for being here. I'll let you get started, and I'll be here listening.
All right, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I know you told me it's just like Zoom, but we don't want to touch stuff, and so we're going to see. All right. So as Sherry said, I am the board chair of the Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the chamber is, how we came to be. But I will start with a really simple definition for what we are. We are like any other chamber. We are like the Columbus Chamber in that we advocate on behalf of the business interest of our members. We are like any regional chamber in that we advocate on behalf of the interest of people or business owners in a specific geographical area, in our case, Central Ohio. We also operate like an affinity chamber in that all of our members are Black. And so we represent the very special interest of Black-owned businesses here in Central Ohio. So we started in 2018. Now, we're not the first. There have been other iterations of the chamber or the Black chambers in Columbus and Central Ohio and Ohio generally. And we are just the latest iteration of the chamber. In fact, in 2016, 2017, board members of the previous chamber came together and decided they wanted to reinstitute a Black chamber in Columbus. And so they did the very quiet work of building out the organization again. And we launched in February of 2018. We have members who have been with us since 2017, but that was before we actually launched in February of 18. And our goal was to be a voice, was to be an advocate for Black-owned businesses in Central Ohio. We are a membership organization, but we consider anybody Black who owns a business to be somebody that A, we care about, and B, that we advocate on behalf of. We do pride ourselves on being a centralized resource for Black-owned businesses. We work to make sure that our member companies have access to capital. Sherry talked about the idea of scaling up, of adding an employee, the solopreneur going from solo to an employer. A lot of that hinges on access to capital. So that's one of the things that we really focus on. We also look at entry into new markets, and new markets doesn't mean it's someplace else. Sometimes it means getting Black produced or Black owned products into stores, onto shelves in front of people who didn't know those things existed before. And we also are relationship driven, which is, I say it's a Black thing, but it can be an anybody thing. We really drive on relationships, right? And so sometimes it's about doing business together. Sometimes it's about a really big contract or a really big RFP that comes down that maybe you can't by yourself do, but you could partner with somebody who looks like you and get the work. So relationships are very important to the work we do at COAC. Our mission is super simple. It is to advocate on behalf of Black-owned businesses. Our service area is Central Ohio, it's Franklin County, and it's those contiguous areas. And sometimes advocating is as simple as asking a question. It's as simple as being in the room at the table and saying, how does this impact Black-owned business? How does this eliminate historic barriers for Black-owned businesses? And you may be surprised, but a simple question can shift thinking, it can shift the way we do things. And so we do pride ourselves on being a group that asks that question, how does it impact Black-owned business? When we founded, and we continue to operate under three main pillars, and that is access. Again, it's the access to capital, it's the access to new business opportunities, it is advocacy, it is speaking up, being a voice on behalf of Black owned business, and it's acceleration. When we started, it was development, but we don't do a lot of startup work, and sometimes development feels like startup work. And so our work really is in the acceleration space. It is, again, it's that leveling up. It is growing your business in a way that works for you. We think of it as adding employees, but it could be getting the back of the house together so that you're ready to add employees. It's getting your structure together so that you're ready to add employees. We saw last year during the pandemic, and however you want to define the end of it, during the pandemic, when PPP dollars came down, we saw that a lot of solopreneurs um, had to sort of be grandfathered in. We had to work through that because sometimes solopreneurs don't pay themselves, right? I mean, we're making enough money to support the family, the house, the whatever, but we don't do it on paper. We're not paying ourselves on paper. So structure is really an important factor in acceleration. So again, we are a chamber of commerce. We are a membership organization. Our members pay an annual fee to be a part of our group. But we really believe that we represent all Black-owned business. We don't think of ourselves as being advocates only for the members that we have. We really do think of it in terms of the collective. Our average member is in the business and consumer services, although it runs the gamut. Those two areas are really represented on our roster. Our average member has been in business for 15 years. That includes an EE Ward, who's been around for 130 years, to somebody who started last year. The average, though, is about 15 years. And our average member employs about 8 people. And again, that goes from the solopreneur up to our corporate partners who may have hundreds or thousands of employees, but we average out at about 8 employees per member. We're often asked, who our members are, and the simple answer is our members look just like the Black business ecosystem. They run the gamut. Some of the industries or the sectors listed here represent our membership, but it really could be anything. It really could be. One of the spaces where we are present as Black-owned businesses is in like barber, beauty, restaurants. And so we don't have a ton of beauty shops, a ton of barber shops, a ton of restaurants on our roster, but we have some. And actually, we've added probably more restaurants in the past year than we had in the previous years of our existence. Don't have the science on that yet. You have to invite me back next year and I'll give you the data points on why maybe that happened. Earlier this year, we sat down as a board and sort of redefined our agenda. And we stayed with the same focus areas: advocacy, access, and acceleration. And but we tried to put some meat on those bones and look at what those things really meant. And the backstory is that over the past year, certainly a year ago now, we had people coming to us to say, "Oh my God, we've got to help. What can we do to support?" And it was a beautiful sentiment, of course. But sometimes people come to you and they want to help you, but they want to help you in the way that works for them and not in the way that works for you, which is not a bad thing, but it is a true thing. And so we realized that we had to be able to give people really specific, concrete vehicles by which to help if they really wanted to help. Here's what we do. And if you want to join our work, then here's where you can join. Here's that vehicle to do that. And so we looked at advocacy. That is legislative issues and policy initiatives that come out of governmental bodies that impact businesses. And we know that sometimes things that impact businesses have a bigger impact on Black-owned companies. And so we want to advocate to make sure that our companies are at least considered. So when government reps are sitting in a room hammering out something that they've decided is going to help the business community, there needs to be somebody in the room that says, how does this impact Black-owned businesses? And to say unapologetically, how does this impact Black-owned businesses? You will not hear us, you certainly won't hear me, you probably won't hear anybody associated with COAC call us or use the term minority. You won't hear us use the terms diverse or POC. All of those are amazing terms, they're wonderful terms, and I trust that the people who advocate in those spaces are advocating in those spaces. We use the term Black and we use it unapologetically. My American story is unique. As a Black woman, my story, uh, my American story is unique, and so therefore it is worthy of a category, right? I didn't. My greats didn't wake up one morning and decide to seek a better life in America. That's not how we got here. That's not how my family got here anyway. And so you hear us use the term Black because that is on whose behalf we advocate. We also look at private and public sector procurement. That could be supplier diversity. That could be working in the corporate sector. It could be working in the public sector. What do contracting opportunities look like? And are there barriers keeping Black-owned businesses from accessing those contracts? And it is never deliberate or malevolent or dark or evil. There are some things that are baked into the way we operate that every now and again somebody has to say, wait a minute, does this perpetuate a barrier? Does it eliminate a barrier? And that's what we try to do. We also look at business to business exposure in amplifying the goods and services available from Black-owned businesses. So on our website, we have an interactive map where you can see where the Black businesses are that are brick and mortar. We also have a list, which is creatively called The List. We've played with other names and somehow we ended up with The List. We keep coming back to The List. But those, you can look categorically to find, who's doing business. If you want to buy something, go to our website and look and see who's offering it, what Black-owned company is offering it. We always hear and heard before, and we'll continue to hear it, that I would have done business with a Black-owned company, but I couldn't find one. We try to take that away and say, okay, go to our website and look at it categorically and see if you can't find the person categorically who is doing, performing that service or is making those goods and services that you want to buy. Access is another one of our areas. I talked about procurement. Access also looks like media opportunities and opportunities for our members and Black-owned business to tell their stories. Over the past year, we've had this amazing interest in Black-owned companies. And so we've seen a lot of companies featured and we hope that continues. But our ability to tell our stories, our ability to go in front of an audience or go in front of in the marketplace and simply tell our stories is a great way to raise awareness and to make sure that people know that that company, that good, that service or whatever is available. The other thing, and I mentioned this earlier, is access to capital. Access to capital is a big deal. During last year in the PPP rollout, we kept hearing that in order to get the dollars, gosh, if you just had a good relationship with your bank, God, you get it and da 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 da. Well, there were other things involved as well. I talked about paperwork that sometimes was a barrier. It's a necessary barrier, but it was a barrier. We saw a number of those things happen. And so what we did along with partners was really work hard to make sure that our companies and Black-owned companies generally knew about how to access those dollars, knew where to go, knew what to do. And we started a new series of sessions called Bankers Roundtables. And we didn't actually start it. We started it this year. One of our partners actually created it years and years ago, but that's, another talk show. Anyway, we do these things called Bankers Roundtables. And so we bring in bankers and we simply have them talk about the business products they have available. They get to meet our members, meet Black-owned businesses, and hopefully then they can do business with us. We had a bank that was one of our original members who joined because they thought it was the right thing to do in 2018. But at the end of 2018, when they needed to decide if they were going to join us again, they looked at the numbers. They had actually made money as a result of being a member, as a result of being in relationship with Black-owned businesses. They made new money. They did new business. And so they came back, and they came back at a higher level. They came back as a partner, standing up some educational opportunities. And so our bankers roundtables really are an extension of trying to create relationships between our members and lending institutions. And it really was the answer, or an answer to the question that people kept asking, or people kept demanding of us. When people would come and talk to our members, they would say, you've got to have a good relationship with a bank. And I don't pretend to be the smartest pencil in the box, and so I didn't raise the question at first, but then I realized, well, do we know what a good relationship looks like? And so shouldn't we as COAC be fostering good relationships? And so that is how the Bankers Roundtable series was born. We also look at access as pipelines to opportunities and supplier diversity. So we do a series, and we've been doing it, I think, since we started, where a larger member or corporate member will come in and simply talk about how to do business with their company. And so on June 3rd, we're doing a session, how to do business with First Merchant Bank. Beyond the banking side, actually looking at contracting opportunities, because First Merchant, a member of COAC, is expanding in the Central Ohio market. And so they're going to need people to build buildings if they end up going with new builds. They are trying to grow their list of Black vendors. And so we're hosting a session where they will come in, talk about what they're looking for, and our members and other members of the Black business community can right then connect with their procurement people and get on the list in real time and learn about what kind of goods and services First Merchant Bank has to offer. And finally, we look at access to resources. And this is as far and as wide as you could imagine. It sometimes is just pulling them all together and giving you a single place to go and look at, here's what is available. We do that via social media. We do that via our membership meetings. We do that via member-only emails that talk about the resources that are available in the market. But what we know is that there are a lot of resources out there, some good, some bad, some easy, some hard, but it can be a job just to kind of look for them, find them, and access them. And so we really do try to be a centralized resource for those things that are out there to help our businesses. And finally, we talked about acceleration. And when we were thinking about acceleration as one of our agenda items, one of our board members said, let's just make it a thing where we say every member can hire one employee. What if we figured out ways, eliminated barriers so that everybody could hire one employee? And then the conversation continued, and it was like, no, that's kind of limiting. Acceleration, leveling up, should look the way it should look for you, for your company. We can't necessarily tell you how to level up, but we want to create those opportunities for our members to scale up. Is it connecting them with, sources of business, contracting opportunities? Is it talking to them and making sure that our members understand about structure? That you have to do that back of the house stuff first, and putting our members in touch with folks who can help with that. looking at the resources for adding capacity. It's easy to say that I am going to pay myself, I'm going to have a paper trail, I'm going to do that. But in the heat of the moment, when you're working and you're doing whatever, sometimes you don't do the paperwork. So maybe connecting you with a person who can help with that paperwork, help set up that structure. We also wanted to look at financial literacy. We know that there is a racial wealth gap in this country, and we know some of it is generational. It goes back as long as the mind goes back. And so, what do we do to address that? One of the things that we realized is that a lot of our businesses, even the most successful ones, are first generation businesses. I didn't inherit my company from my mother. I started it. Now, my father happened to have been an entrepreneur. He was a CPA and he had a viable firm, but it was a firm in his name. And so when he went away, the firm basically lost all of its value. So I didn't necessarily inherit, a company. Well, I didn't inherit a company at all. So, but what does that mean in terms of being a first generation business owner? It means that there are some things that maybe a second or third generation business owner knows by osmosis that I have to learn or that I had to learn. And so my daughter is, if she decides to go back into business for herself, is a second generation business owner, right? Her dad owns his own company, her mom owns her own company. So it'll look different, and it did look different for her when she was in business for herself. The other thing that we want to do is nurture entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and say that owning your own company is a way. You don't have to necessarily work for someone else. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And really start to plant that seed early so that you can be thinking of it early. We tell our kids sometimes that, you go to school, you get a degree, and you get a good job. Well, the economy has changed and the world has changed. And so maybe we should be telling our kids, if they are really passionate about something, figure out how to stand up a business. If they are really passionate about it, maybe you will have to go to work for somebody, but you can do it on the side. We sometimes aren't as positive about the side hustle as we ought to be, but it's real. And there are a lot of folks who are working basically two jobs. You're going to work every day for somebody, and you're trying to figure out how to stand up your own company, how to turn your side hustle into a real thing. So we want to encourage our young people to think of it that way, to think of themselves as employers. You don't have to go to work for somebody else. Maybe you are the job creator. Maybe you're the person who creates those jobs. So that's what our agenda looks like. And we are, again, COAC. We are the Black Chamber in Columbus. Our website is here. And if you're interested in joining us, you can go to the website, look up membership opportunities. Our memberships are based on the size and structure of your company, but we have never had somebody not join because they couldn't pay. That's not who we are. So we've had people who've come in and said, I see that this ought to be the level I need to come in at, but I'd really be more comfortable coming in at this level, or it'd really be more affordable for me to come in at this level. And they do. They come in at those levels. During the last year, we suspended renewal rates. We've never asked anybody, any member, to pay anything. Some continue to renew their memberships. Some continue to join. But we didn't press people to renew. We didn't throw people off the roster if they didn't renew last year. Last year was hard. And so we didn't want to be that thing, that person, that organization who was hounding you. We have some members who buy their benefits, their health benefits through us. We would never put anybody off of our roster, certainly not in what was going on last year, because of the inability to pay. So we're pretty fluid. We really do operate in the collective. And we have, in addition to the health benefits. We have another number of other business services that we offer as part of membership. But a lot of our members are with us because there is power in numbers and there is power in the collective, as Sherry said. So our website is there. Check us out. We would love to have you. Our membership meetings are almost never closed to just members. If you go to the website, you can get a schedule of our meetings. You can get a schedule of our events. We'd love to have you join us. One event that I didn't talk about is coming up on June 19th. We are partnering with the Columbus Urban League for a taste of June 19th. We'll be at the Urban League from noon until 4. That's here in Columbus. And we've got food trucks and vendors. And I know for a lot of our vendors, there haven't been a ton of opportunities to be out and to be at events like this. So our idea for celebrating Juneteenth is to do business together. It is to celebrate our capacity to simply do business together. Thank you. So I'm not able to hear you, Sherry.
I'm muted. I should know better than that. There's a joke, a term for that. Just talking muted. Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Now
Um,
I'm sad now of any mistake I ever make in tech world because you know what? Because you are the tech queen. So
that's what makes me feel so bad. I'm the tech
you
queen
should
that I
not.
can't unmute myself.
You
But
make all of us feel good.
I just wanted to thank you for your wisdom, for your insight, sharing your experience, and informing everyone about COAC. One thing I want to say is, again, for those of you who are joining us who are not in Central Ohio or even Ohio at all, hopefully you have a Black Chamber of Commerce in your city. So please seek the chamber out. These chambers are here to be advocates for us, to help us with resources, and quite often offer things that no other organization in your city can offer. Just focused on really empowering Black businesses. So seek out your local chamber if you're not in Columbus or in Ohio. So I'm asking the same three questions real quickly as we wrap this session. I'm asking these questions of everyone, and you kind of addressed these in your presentation, I believe, but just in a nutshell, what challenges and barriers have you seen or experienced for Black businesses trying to scale?
I think the big one is access to capital. It is it's simply that. There was it was a study done, and I don't remember all the specific data points, but it talked about all things being equal, and a white business owner, a black business owner, and an Hispanic business owner, all things being equal in their paperwork. If the white business owner was getting the loan 100% of the time, the black business owner was getting the loan 50 to 60% of the time, the Hispanic business owner was getting the loan about the same amount of time. And
Mm,
so there are some things that are baked in. And I am always careful to say that these aren't necessarily malevolent or evil, scary things, but they're
mm,
baked in.
yeah,
I mean, there are policies in place that have been building and winding and growing for what, 150 years, if not more.
or
And
more.
so,
Yeah.
or more. And
Mm.
so that's one of those things that you kind of have to unravel, and you unravel it slowly, maybe, or you unravel it fast. But that's a big deal, not having the money to step out, not having the ability to step out. We don't step out, I mean, we step out on hope and faith and all of that, but we need money. We need capital in order to do
So, do you have any tips or recommendations for how businesses can, overcome, those challenges? Just quick tips.
Okay, so this is my least favorite thing to say. My mother said it to me. Your mother said it to you. Her mother said it to her. Her
Mm-hmm.
mother said it to her. Be better.
Mm,
Be tighter.
yeah.
Be tight. And get in relationship. I see that Alicia Wyatt is here. Be in relationship. You know,
Yeah.
when I was talking about the first bank that joined us, it was Key Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was somebody inside KeyBank who said we should be a part of this, and there
Mm,
was somebody in KeyBank who ran the numbers when they needed to justify joining again, who ran the numbers and said, "Oh my gosh, this is something we need to do
mm-hmm.
because it's good for everybody." You know, we're not nobody black is saying give us a loan but don't charge us interest. Give us a
Mm-hmm.
loan but don't ask us to pay it back. That is not ever the case, but we still have to be better, and we just have to be tight, and we have to try to be in relationship, and sometimes it means stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Absolutely. Do you have, I guess that's kind of an action item, be better, but the last question is what one action item would you give to anybody watching this that they can take to set them on a journey to growth?
So I would say, and I this advice is for me as much as anybody else. um, I do communications. That is what I do for a living, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if somebody came along and they said I have a house that needs painted, I wouldn't go to Lowe's and buy paint and start painting that house. I would call somebody who is a painter and say, hey, there's this opportunity to paint houses. The same is true with the back of the house stuff. I'm not a CPA. And so I would say to uh, businesses looking to scale up, go and get people. And it might be a stretch and a sacrifice for a little while, but hire folks who do that, who do paperwork, who do numbers, who can make sure that when you go to a bank, your package is tight. Don't try to do everything yourself. We are amazing and smart and all of that, but sometimes you have to hire out. And so I would say to mind your structure. And if you need help getting your structure in order, go hire somebody, barter with somebody.
Barter. I was gonna say
Barter.
that it's, that's something that's in our history anyway,
Mm-hmm.
as African people, and so it's I can't say how often I've bartered, because as I'm listening to you saying, oh, I'll hire a CPA to do this and hire, another professional to do that. Quite often we don't have the resources,
Right.
but you probably have a skill set that other black business might need. And I have bartered so much over the last 10 to 15 years that I've been, an entrepreneur full time. I've always had my business on the side, even when I was in the military, even when I, came home and worked in the corporate. I always had something that I was building on the side. But, since I've been doing this full time, I've bartered quite often, and
Mm-hmm.
it's you can create a beneficial relationship. My only advice there is so that you don't sour the relationship and no one starts feeling like they're not getting equal or fair treatment, is create your invoices, or just at least assess the services on both sides to make sure that you're bartering equally. But yeah, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, I agree with you. You can't be the receptionist and accounts payable, receivable, and the salesperson, and you can't do it all.
You cannot. And I would add to that, Sherry, is that don't discount yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing a barter thing, don't discount yourself. Say what your real worth is, and encourage your partner to say what their real worth is. And so, and it also helps to get used to asking for it. Sometimes we're not good about asking. I know I'm only speaking for me. I'm not always good about asking for my rate or what I know my rate ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
If I were somebody else with the experience that I have, my rate would be different. And so I say it to people all the time, and I'm a horrible person about taking my own advice, but don't discount yourself.
Yeah. Great tips, great information. Um, if you're in Central Ohio, join COAC if you're not already a member. If you're not in Central Ohio, seek out your local Black Chamber. Again, Jill, thank you so much for your insight today, for
Thank you.
your experience, and we'll see you during the panel discussion, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sherry.
So everyone stay tuned again for our panel discussion at the end. It's going to be amazing. We have some really wonderful people that will take part in that and get a little bit deeper into the discussion of the barriers that we're all facing as Black businesses. So I'm going to move on to our next guests. Next up, we have our great friends at KeyBank. They are an amazing partner to the Black Expo. We've met with KeyBank, many times. They are very committed to diversity, not only inside of their organization, but also outside. And so I appreciate them being here to kind of discuss what banks are looking for. Again, access to capital is one of the biggest barriers that we see. And for any of my friends that are in banking, one of the things that they always say is they feel so bad if they're Black and they work at a bank, and Black people try to approach a Black business, tries to get a loan, and their stuff is not together. They just don't have the information and resources needed, the infrastructure to be able to get a loan. So I appreciate the input that we'll get today from Key Banks. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Alicia Wyatt and then Candace White, also from Key Bank. Hi, Alicia.
I'm on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sherry. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
Hi, Candace.
Hi, Sherry. So nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you again. It's been
Yeah.
since I think last year this time.
Yes, it was, and it was great. So thank you for allowing Key to have the opportunity again to speak. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I have to tell you, we're running a little bit behind because I was talking to Jill too much. So we have, about 20 minutes or so till the next segment. No pressure.
okay. Okay.
We will do our best to definitely stay on time. I think we planned for 15 minutes, so we should be good.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank
I'm
you.
going to share my screen. Right. And then I'm going to have it go to a slideshow. Okay, can you see my screen?
hmm
Okay, and it's a big slide, correct?
Put it on, Alicia, put it on presentation mode. Can you click on the
Okay.
little computer, the little screen
Are you on? Let me see which one you can see. Let me just make
right
sure.
down in the bottom right-hand corner of your presentation?
So let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen first.
We see your email and Jabber.
Okay.
Yeah, it switches when we go for presentation on our computer.
All right, let me try
Um,
this one more time. Share. Okay. Okay, can you see it as it is right now?
let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like you can see it. So now I'm going to do it to presentation. Can you see it big?
Oh, we can see it. I can
Mm-hmm.
see it, but it's what you see. So far as your notes and our next slide, that's what is being presented versus the
Oh, I know,
presentation.
because I'm actually seeing two different screens.
Right. Are you sharing screen one? I think it shares what's on our small monitor. I'm not sure if
Okay,
I'm
let
pretty
me try that
sure.
again. Sorry about that.
You're fine. I ran into the same thing with our Cabane call when I was presenting and had to get the screen straight. And that was just on Friday. So it's fairly fresh of knowing how that happens.
All right, I'm going to actually switch here. Let's see if this works better. All right, sharing from beginning. Okay, which one can you see?
I can't see any screen right now.
Can you see any screen?
It's almost as if it's not sharing.
Okay, how about now?
There we go.
Ah, whew. Okay, so my apologies, everyone. Okay, ready to go.
Yes. So I'll kick this off, everyone. We're going to be presenting on the topic of solopreneur to job creators, which is a very hot topic in the small business community. Again, I'm Candace White, branch manager at our Hamilton Meadows office. So I'm just north of Cincinnati. Been with Key for 5 years, and I'm very, very honored to have this opportunity to present again with Alicia out of Columbus for the Ohio Black Expo. And I'll turn it over just for a short introduction from Alicia on some background from her.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Wyatt, the person that's not very good with tech, as you can see, but I'm a branch manager here in the Columbus market at the Bethel Road location. I've also been with Key for 5 years, and I'm very excited to be here to share some information and some knowledge with you all to help you and your business move from solopreneur to job creators.
Mhm.
All right, so next slide.
And for our agenda today, we're going to just run through some very hot topics that is going to be pertinent to the topic of solopreneur to job creators. So Alicia and I will have time at the end for some question and answers. We'll also share our contact information. So if there is anything you may think of after the presentation, you do have the contact information to get in touch with either of us.
So key takeaways that we'll have throughout the presentation, preparation is critical. Ms. Frost actually mentioned just before our segment that it is going to be good for you to get things ready and how sometimes we don't have everything that is needed when you start to think through your business plan and your business growth. So we'll go through some ways that you could get prepared. Objectively assess your business prior to investing in the growth that will allow you to bring on new employees. And then there are several factors that impact the right time for you to grow your business. So we'll discuss all three before we finish our segment.
And so we'll hop right into this. So, what exactly is business growth and how you can prepare to get there? So, think of it as climbing a mountain. You're going to take your time doing it. I mean, having an idea or a plan for a business when it's in black and white can seem so very easy, but just preparing yourself for that growth is what you really have to have the right equipment and tools and resources to do so. So, just a few things to consider to prepare for your accelerated business growth or just growth in general for your business is knowing what your objectives are, having that goal in place, and that starts with a business plan. As we move to the right equipment, tools, and resources, a business plan can be as small as 1 pages to as lengthy as 10 to 15 pages. I've seen everything in between, but it is very important to have a solid business plan, at least for your first year of starting your business, to know what your goals are, Set a timeline for events. This will include your marketing. And it's also good to even share this business plan with your banker, which is another resource that you want to be equipped with as you go into business and or prepare for the growth. um, Having patience is very critical, and just knowing that this will take time. I think it's very often that we sit with, as bankers, we sit with business owners who are starting on Tuesday. By Friday, you want to be number one in your market. That is a great goal to have, but just knowing what goes into this as far as business growth is very, very important. So just knowing that it takes time. And then celebrating, knowing when to celebrate, launch day, when you've made your first $1,000, when you've reached traffic on your website, that traffic has turned into a sale, a returning purchase. Celebrate that, even if it's, doing something for yourself, sending a thank you email blast out to your customers or clients, just knowing that that is all very important to your business growth.
So now we'll talk about when to invest in the business growth. So lessons from the pandemic, right? We all went through 2020, and in some cases, we're still going through the effects of the pandemic in 2021. So we just have to be hyper aware of the economic climate and be willing and able to pivot in a moment's notice. So we have to be smart about when to pivot and know when to pivot. So it's going to be crucial that we're paying attention to what is going on in the economy, and it's going to be crucial that we pay attention to when to make adjustments in our plan. Objectively check in on your business. So this is a crucial one. Objectively, meaning you in essence have to take yourself out of it. In some cases it might be difficult for business owners to do this, so if that's the case, bring someone in to help you with making those objective business decisions. Maybe a business mentor or your business partner might be more objective than you are, so we want to make sure that we're taking care of taking stock of our business from a bird's eye view. Is there demand for your service or product? And if there isn't demand, is there need for us to pivot in order to get our products out to more people? Investing in new equipment or process improvement may be scary and in some cases may be expensive for business owners, but may also be a necessity. That might be your jumping point. You buying that new equipment to make you more efficient, you working on ways that you can improve your processes. That might be that next step that you had needed to take from a while ago in order for you to be able to jumpstart the business into the next level. So sometimes it might seem risky and sometimes it might seem scary, but may absolutely be a necessity. And then, are you in a state of complacency? We cannot grow if we stay in the same segment, same sector all the time. So, what are we doing in order for us to get out of that state? What are we doing our research on? Are we thinking of growing, and are we making the steps necessary for us to grow?
Yes, so thank you, Alicia, for that. And as you were mentioning, I'm like over here shaking my head, like, oh my gosh, being complacent. I mean, I've said that I don't know how many times to someone who's been in business 20 years, and they're wondering, okay, I've done very well this long. Why are things changing?
Right.
Looking at tax returns, things may look a little different because of everyone, starting business, which I think is great. So there's going to be competition in the market. So knowing how to grow your business is also very important too, going from a solopreneur to a job creator. Layering on additional products and or services will be important to that. Um, and then just to ask yourself, are you looking to broaden your client base, your target audience, your reach, and how you're doing that? Growing your presence to expand outside of your community. I know many small businesses who are very local, but I mean, to reach an audience to attract them even to your city, to your business is going to be important to growth as well. Um, so just knowing what your target audience is or target client is, as well as where you want to be. Um, just some things to have in place prior to investing in business growth. Again, I'm going to say the need assessment, which is also something that's in a business plan. And then a plan that details your plans for financial growth. So having those projections, how are you going to get there? It's very, very quick and easy. It will take you some time. However, I know there is a template in Excel, and even on score.org is a great resource to use for small business owners that have these different templates that can be used for things such as a projection for financial growth. So if you aren't already using that free resource, it's just simply score.org. I highly recommend checking that out for some of the need assessments, the business plan, and the financial growth projections that you'll need to get to where you want to be for your business. And as far as, creating jobs, having that additional layer of funds to at least a month's worth of payroll, as you go to layer on additional products and or services to your business.
And I'll add too for the comment on needs assessment, how important and crucial that is. But when you're thinking of your needs assessment, don't just think of, the traditional things such as what the business needs equipment or manpower, but you definitely want to think about sweat equity and time commitment. So
Mhm.
how long will it take and how much time will it take from you personally and from your employees as you do grow to actually get your, or even your business partner, to get your needs, the business needs met, and what type of work will be necessary for it to be completed.
Mhm. And just as we, continue talking about this, and this is a great segue into what I was going to mention next was marketing. Um, Marketing is very important to growing your business. If you aren't already using social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, I would highly suggest doing that. It's quite interesting, even having a very small business myself and just advertising on Instagram and Facebook, the opportunities that I've had from others to say, hey,
Mhm.
I would love to, model some of your clothes. I want to purchase, to test out this candle or, your hair extensions or whatnot. But being able to just attract folks from all over the country and just even some of the tools and resources that some of these social media platform has to support small businesses. I mean, you can run an ad on Instagram and reach folks of a certain target that you're trying to reach, and they send those ads and place those ads in a timeline for you. So definitely preparing yourself for that portion of the growth and the time commitment. Another tool I'll kind of throw out there is Canva. As far as marketing, but that is a great tool to use that can help to grow your business as you can go in, create marketing material and set a date for that to be published. So just really rely on some of the social media tools and apps that are also going to be important in helping you to grow your business, attract that client, customer, or even next potential employee that you're looking to have to support you in your business growth.
Candice, you make a good point right there, right? So as we're thinking about, right, the whole purpose of this presentation is solopreneur to job creators. So
Hmm.
on social media, a lot of your employees could be there already waiting to meet you or get introduced to your business. So
Hmm.
take advantage of this. And in many cases, the ways to advertise is at no cost to you, or very little cost in most cases. So take advantage of the opportunity for you to spread your wings, to spread your business's wings, right, and reach target audience and to reach potential employees.
Hmm.
So, how can we help you prepare for the growth? So, KeyBank has been committed to growth and longevity for small business clients for decades. I personally have the motto that a client's business to me is an entity and a person, just like the physical person that is right here in front of me. I treat your business and your goals the way that I would treat the person in front of me who may be a single mom, who may be a single dad, and has the goals to have their kids go to college, right? How do I get you to achieve that goal? How do I get you to make an impact in your community? And KeyBank offers a few programs for you to get there. So Key for Women program and the Key for Women certified advisors, we have the ability, because one of the things that we've learned is that women business owners take a while to go through and start their business. In some instances, in most instances, they do non-traditional funding, and this non-traditional funding may make it difficult for them to get and expand their business as opposed to their male counterparts. So we have a particular program called Key for Women to help you with information on a regular basis, networking events on a regular basis, so you can meet additional women business owners and to help your network to expand. We have business bankers who are here to help you grow, and we have branch managers who are willing to spend the time with you on an individual basis to get you prepared for the financial needs that your business will have. So, growth solutions that we can offer: cash management, wealth management. And when I say wealth management, this might be anywhere from what to do with your funding after you have developed and had good growth. Wealth management, when it comes to how do you help your employees manage their own funds? What does it look like for your succession planning, depending on the stage of your business and what it is that you're trying to do next?
Mhm.
Lines of credits. How do you get access to capital? How can we prepare you for you to be ready when the time comes to go to any bank and request capital access so you can help your business expand? From equipment purchasing to vehicle purchasing to lines of credit in order for you to make payroll until the funds come in, and to credit cards where you can get to purchase items and get rewards or payback for each purchase that you make. We have these solutions that are available to our business owners, and Candace and I have spent numerous hours with our business clients to help them to be prepared for these events.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, funding your business growth. This is kind of where we're going to plug Key Bank. So, visit us online at key.com to find the nearest bank near you. All of our branch managers, we're small business development managers, so highly trained to be able to assist you in whatever stage your business is in, whether it's a startup or you're a very mature business looking to get to the next level. We are equipped as a bank to support any business from $1 all the way up to 20 plus million. So we work very closely with our business bankers as well as our commercial bankers to support every type of business that's out there. Um, Scheduling a meeting, being prepared. We'll do a what's called a small business bonus review guide, which has the most advanced technology that will allow you as a business owner to guide the conversation. Tell us what you need. Tell us what your goals are, where your passion lies around your business. And in turn, we can offer you solutions as well as products that will support you in your business as well as your business growth. History of the business. And we can also accept this again in form of a business plan and knowing how your business started, where you are now, and where you're going. That's going to be very important in having a conversation with your bank or banker. Goals and immediate needs. Be transparent. You know, what are your goals? Where do you want to get to? What do you need? You should be very comfortable in having that conversation with your banker. If not, again, I'm going to plug key.com. That's what we do. We listen and we are able to get solutions for you. We're a small business bank, and this is what we do. Having your finances in place. Oftentimes, we hear it with business owners, you know, you may run $100,000 through your business account. However, what's in black and white is going to count. Having a CPA Someone that can help you with your business finances is going to be very important. And that could also help you. I mean, just what we went through with the pandemic, with PPP, the idle loans, you needed to have your finances in place to be able to take advantage of those programs that were specifically for small business. The restaurant revitalization fund that was just out, having your finances intact for that and being prepared. So if your finances are intact, keeping your balance sheets, profit and loss statement, keeping that at your fingertips is also very important. Those play a very large role when you're requesting funding from any bank. Um, and again, having your a mentor, your CPA and banker. When last year when we spoke on this topic, we couldn't stress enough how important these roles are in your business. So have that meeting with your banker. If it's been a while since you've been into the bank, to sit down with the person who maybe opened your account, now is the time to do that. Make that appointment and say, hey, I really want to revisit my business. There are so many different solutions and products that are out there. I can only speak for Key, but we have some great solutions for small businesses. And I'm sure any of our small business development managers will be happy to speak with you about how those products may work for you, or a product and a recommendation that we have to help get you there for your growth. And again, just to, wrap up, sitting down with your banker, making sure you have that 4 to 6 months of cash reserve. That should be possibly in a savings account or more of a rainy day fund that you have. Establishing the business credit. The SBA is your friend. The SBA, which KeyBank is an SBA lender, we're in the top 10. Um, but SBA products are for startup businesses. If you're looking to expand, maybe start a franchise for your business, SBA would be the way to go. Traditional financing may not be the option for you because the SBA is able to support that type of growth. Um, Everyone and any whatever, regardless of where you are, there should be a small business development center near you. That's another great resource to use as well if you're starting your business. Let's say you're transitioning from an LLC to a corporation. The Small Business Development Center would be a great resource for you as well. But that is also something that comes with growth. If your business is growing, it may be time to incorporate your business versus staying an LLC. So these are all things to think about as your business is growing, or you have that goal for growth. And then I'll just reiterate, keeping your financials up to date, tax returns, your balance sheets, profit and loss statement, keeping that up to date. Make sure your QuickBooks is up to date so you're not behind, and knowing where things should be categorized on your statements will also be very important to your growth. But I'll just end this portion with, we're here for you. Again, key.com has a lot of resources available to business owners, calculators, templates. You're able to schedule an appointment online also, and we can specifically block out that time for you to have the conversation needed about your business, regardless of where you are in as a startup or in a growth phase.
Thank you so much, Candace. You hit the nail on the head with many of your remarks. Be prepared for an honest conversation when you sit with a banker. Do not be scared. We are all here to help, just like Candace said, and we have the resources and the knowledge to assist you, and we're willing to take the step with you from beginning, including credit building, all the way to the end to when we can get you some credit established. We're here for you, and we're going to turn it over to Sherry.
Oh, we can't hear you, Sherry.
I did it
Yeah.
again. I'm the tech queen. They call me the tech queen. I did it again. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. Hope to see you both soon now that some COVID restrictions are lifting.
Yes.
And so thank you again. Thank you again.
Yes. Thank you
Bye,
for the
everyone.
opportunity. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye. All right, so moving right along, I want to reiterate, you want to stick around. After our next guest, we're going to be gearing up for our roundtable discussion. She actually will be part of that discussion. But I appreciate her being here. And if you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to introduce our next special guest.
Gail Saunders, APR, is founder and CEO of the Saunders PR Group, a full-service public relations agency in Columbus, Ohio, specializing in reputation management, crisis communications, diversity, equity and inclusion communications, media relations and training, community engagement, diverse stakeholder outreach, and media buying. Named 2021 YWCA Women of Achievement 2018 Public Relations Practitioner of the Year by the Central Ohio Public Relations Society of America, Saunders is the first person of color to earn this title in the history of the chapter. In 2019, she earned the prestigious PRISM Award and a National Communicators Award for her company's work with Celebrate One. She is co-founder of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee of the Central Ohio Public Relations Chapter of America and its inaugural chair. Saunders was liaison to the White House and managed over 100 national media outlets during the Ohio State University's Spring 2013 commencement when former President Barack Obama gave the address. She has led public relations for Nationwide, Ameritech AT&T, National City Bank, PNC, the Memorial Tournament, NASCAR, and held executive roles at National City Bank, The Ohio State University, the City of Columbus, and Columbus City Schools. Clients include the Ohio Lottery, the Ohio State University, City of Columbus Mayor's Office, Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority, Columbus City Council, Franklin County Board of Commissioners, Smart Columbus, Celebrate One, Columbus Public Health, Columbus Public Service, Venture Suites, Partners Achieving Community Transformation, and Pickerington North High School basketball. Currently, she is a board member of the Central Ohio Public Relations Society of America and serves as ethics officer. She volunteers for Pickerington Local School District, is a past president of the Child Development Council Head Start, Girl Scouts, YWCA, the Columbus Urban League, and the King Arts Complex. She has earned awards for her work in public relations from the Central Ohio Public Relations Society of America, the National School Public Relations Association, the Blue Chip Foundation, and the Cleveland Press Club. She is also recognized as the first Black female news videographer at a TV network, WSYX TV, in the City of Columbus, and the first female Deputy Director of Public Safety for the City of Columbus.
I can't hear you.
Muted. I just muted myself. That's quite a list of accomplishments. So happy to have you here today. Um, I know that you're going to drop some nuggets of wisdom on how our businesses can go to the next level and be able to hire employees. So whenever you're ready.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'll tell you, I've learned so much in that previous presentation. I'm so happy to say that KeyBank is my banker. And so I learned quite a bit from that. A couple of things I just wanted to say. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. I do have some presentation I'd like to walk you through. And then at the end of the presentation, I'd like to share with you my top 10. And so I'm hoping that my connection is good, and please forgive me if it goes in and out. I am having some technical difficulties today, but hopefully you hear me okay. So today I want to talk to you about going from your hustle to your flow. And we all know that as an entrepreneur and a solopreneur, we always have to hustle. But when you transition from being the one solo person doing everything in your shop, believe me, you can then begin to have your business flow, and then you can really focus on the business than being in the business. So with that, I'd like to go to our next slide. I want to talk to you about the numbers, and I'm sure you've heard that throughout the Black Expo. Sherry has been dropping some great, important numbers on Black businesses. We certainly are an engine of opportunity in our community for employment. And so when you think about moving from a solopreneur and driving the work in the business yourself, think about the opportunities that we have to employ others and help others build wealth and take care of their families. So when you think about the numbers and the businesses of Black businesses in the community, in the nation, look at those numbers. Very, very proud of the work that we do as entrepreneurs. As a matter of fact, we are as I mentioned before, the drivers of employment in our communities. So when I had the opportunity to step out on faith and start my own business, one of the things that I always knew I wanted to do, and that we're going to talk about visioning, I wanted to create an opportunity for others to build wealth, not only myself, but others. So while I started as a solopreneur, I knew that my vision was to help grow my business so that I could engage others. Next slide, please. And so when we talk about being a solopreneur, you know what that's like. We do it all. And so when you think about the work, you own the business, of course. It's your business. You work and you run the business alone. You do it all yourself. So, I like to eat. So I'm going to show this little, my little example is you're the chef, you're the cook, you're the dishwasher, you're the waitress or waiter, and you're the bus person, the marketer, the salesperson, and the accountant. Now, when we do it all like that, sometimes we can't keep up. So a solopreneur, we get the job done. We have our hustle on. We grind, we hustle, and we drive to make it happen. You've got to keep all those elements and all of those characteristics as an entrepreneur. But moving to your flow to help others is going to help you even grow your business even more. We're self-reliant, self-confident, and we have grit. When I think about some quotes that I have in my office that really helped and worked for me when I began to make this transition, in life and in business, you have two options. You can make excuses or make changes. I want you to think about this as I continue the presentation. Which one is going to get you closer to where you want to go? Next slide, please. And so, in the chat, I'd like you to drop some nuggets for us today. How do you define solopreneur? If you can just drop in the chat some of the things that you think of when you think about a solopreneur, what comes to mind? And I'll give you a few minutes, and Sherry, if you can help me with that in the chat so that I can see what those are, that'd be great. One of the things that I like to do is make sure that we engage you as we go through our presentation. So please feel free to drop some nuggets for us in the chat. Are you seeing anything, Sherry? I can't get to it. Let me see. Nothing? Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and we will share some of those solopreneur characteristics for you. So this is what the experts say, and from research about solopreneurs, very enthusiastic. We are enthusiastic about our work. We are enthusiastic about our drive, and we really are enthusiastic about how we show up. We have strong work ethic. That's that hustle. Flexible. You have to have flexibility when you're a solopreneur because you're doing all of the things to help drive your business. Creative in terms of if you're a creative soul in terms of your skill set, but also we're creative in how we get things done. We may get up early, we go to bed late, we do things whenever we can and however we can to get it done. Very determined. And I mentioned before, self-reliant and self-confident. And we have grit. A big part of being a solopreneur is people skills. Now, while we work alone, we certainly know that we have to do what we need to do for our clients. So we have those skills, and we love to get the work done. And we have an attitude is we're going to get it done by any means necessary, as long as it's in the parameters of our work. And of course, we have passion. We love what we do. We wouldn't do it if we didn't. And so those are some of the characteristics of a solopreneur.
Someone from our audience said when they think of solopreneur, they think of alonepreneur. And you just mentioned the word alone, so somebody's like, "Yep, alonepreneur." Yeah, we've all been there.
Good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. Next slide, please. So when we think about an entrepreneur, very similar, but here's the deal: we own the business without a doubt. We certainly work, and we have a team of employees, or listen to this, or subcontractors to help us get the work done. And the ability to have others to help us get the work done, it helps us to be more of a strategist and a leader so that we can focus on our business for growth. We calculate risk to improve the business and or the team. And remember, when you become an entrepreneur, it's not only about you, it's about your team. And the best way to grow your business is to support your team and invest in the team. Of course, we grind, we hustle, and we drive. We wouldn't be in this business as a solopreneur or entrepreneur if we didn't. And of course, we have grit, we're self-reliant, and we're self-confident. And so you see very similar characteristics to get us to that entrepreneur track, but we just have to take it to the next level. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is, tell me how you define an entrepreneur. Tell me what you think. I'll give it a few minutes. Anything in the chat? Oh, we'll go ahead to the next
Not
slide.
yet. I think sometimes there's a delay, but if something pops up, I'll let you know.
Okay. We'll go to the next slide. I mentioned some of those things previously, but I wanted to add to those. And this is from some of the research. We have vision, and we have mission, and we're driven, very serious about the work. We focus on the customer, must focus on the customer. And I'm going to add to that, we also focus on our team. We seek strong talent to support business growth and individual growth. Got to help your team grow if you want your business to grow. We make decisions carefully because you are thinking about your team, you're thinking about your growth, you have more responsibilities and you have more risk. And so we have to calculate those risks as it relates to how we grow our business, how it impacts the business. And someone mentioned marketing in the previous presentation. You have to think about how it impacts your brand. Self-reliant, self-confidence, grit, people skills, and your people skills you have to really enhance those, because you have to be able to lead your team, and your team needs to see confidence in you in order for them to feel confident about your business, and your clients also have to have confidence in you. And I can't say this enough. One of the things that entrepreneurs do, if we're going to be successful, we have to invest in ourselves. And so we have to listen to other people, and we have to take feedback as a gift. And we must invest in the team. And passion, that comes with the territory. We know that. Next slide, please.
Comment from our audience, the word enterprising when it comes to entrepreneur, enterprising.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that. Very true. Very true. And so one of the things that I've been asked to do is to give some ideas and some thoughts, and part of my journey on how you make the move from solopreneur to entrepreneur. And I had to really think about this, and I had to think about myself. Be true to thyself. Control versus letting go. Now, we know as solopreneurs, we do it all. And so, because we had to. When you become an entrepreneur, you've got to give up some of the control. We know that we know how to do things and we have a process and we've created systems that work for us. But I'm here to tell you that other people can do it as well. So you've got to be willing to let go. Let go of some of that control, not control over your brand, not control over your reputation, not control over your processes and your procedures. But you are going to have to allow other people to do some of the things that you used to do if you're going to take your business to the next level. One of the things I talked about earlier was from hustle to flow. One of my coaches, and she's been coaching me for years, really underscored the importance of driving your business in a way that when you are away from the business, you have people who can continue to let that business do what it needs to do for you. And so that means that you have to train people, you have to trust people, you have to make sure that you are building systems and approaches that work for you so that when you are not able to be there, that business will flow for you and you have confidence and you know that it's working right. And this is from following others to creating your own. One of the things that as women, sometimes we don't let our light shine because we sometimes want to make sure other people feel comfortable, and that's a societal learning that we are breaking that and breaking it each and every day. We've got to do that as entrepreneurs. Yes, you want to take the tips and the tools and what you learn from others, but you've got to take those things and make your own way and create your own. And that also includes creating own products, creating own services, creating things that are yours and your company. And so you've got to be who you are and be yourself. Other people, they have their way, you have your way. You wouldn't be looking to transition to an entrepreneur model if you didn't know what you were doing. So believe in yourself, create your own flow, listen to others, but make it your own. And then from investing in self, you still must continue to do that because I am a firm believer we never stop learning and we can always do things better to make our business better. But you also want to make sure that you're investing in others and the business. So you heard earlier from key banks some of those foundational elements that really do matter. Making sure you have your finance piece in place, your accounting in place, your growth projections in place, your business plan on paper. Those things you have to do as you begin to move from solopreneur to entrepreneur. And then I always like to say it this way, from working in the business, because as solopreneurs, we do it all, to working on the business. When you have other team members who you trust, who you've trained, who you've trained in terms of your expectations, and I'll talk about that a little later, who have the skills that you're looking for, and who believe in your company and your vision as a way to support your company and your vision, then you can work on the business and work on your business growth and your plans for the future because you have other people who you trust who can move some of that work. Next slide, please. And so I want to talk to you about how I did it. And again, there's no set way, but there are some things that are required. And one of those things that's required is you must assess your needs, you must assess your abilities, and you must think about how you're building this long term. One of the things that I just can't say enough is you've got to think long term, because when we go into business as entrepreneurs, we don't want it to be here for a year. We want it to be here for years because we're trying to build wealth for generations, and we're trying to help our team members build wealth for their families and generations. So we want to be in for the long haul. So you've got to do the assessment up front. And if you don't know what to do, get the professionals to help you do it. And then initially I thought, I need to hire people right now. But quite frankly, I did not have an opportunity to hire people because I had to think about my finances. I didn't want to hire people today and then have to lay them off tomorrow. So I started by engaging subcontractors for what I needed. And many of you have worked with me before as subcontractors. Now I still use subcontractors, but I'm moving away from that model because I have hired 4 people full time and I'm continuing to grow. But I started by engaging subcontractors. I will want to tell you this though. As you engage subcontractors, you want to be mindful of your processes that are in place to protect your intellectual properties. You must do that. And then I flowed into hiring part-time employees. And that's how I started to just, I had my vision, I had my plan, I've worked my plan. And tough and challenges along the way, but I still stayed true to my plan. And so I eventually, over the last couple of years, I have been extending my part-time to full-time. And through God's grace and mercy, we continue to grow. And so if you can see how, I kind of set the stage. I started with subcontractors. I then went part-time. And now I'm going with full-time employees. And I continue to, with God's grace and mercy, continue to grow that business. The other thing I mentioned earlier, I built an infrastructure to protect the business. Now, there were some learnings for me along the way because when I first started engaging people, we all are trusting souls. And so I did not have those pieces in place. But I did learn quickly and early on that I needed to do that so that as I continue to grow and my business grows, I won't have a big loss. I just had a little loss. So you've got to make sure that you protect your business and get the people you need, your accountants, your CPAs, your attorneys, your HR professionals. And I can't tell you enough how the HR professional who supports my business has helped me significantly in making sure that my job descriptions are correct. The way I onboard people is done well. The way I treat my employees is done well. If they know if they have any issues, they don't come to me, they go to my HR person, and my HR person makes sure that I get it right. And so I cannot tell you how valuable that is. But they also make sure that I have my protections in place from an NDA and all those other things along with my attorney. Very important. And then I stay connected with my coaches, my mentors, and trust me, I lean in on people who are younger than me as my coaches and my mentors, and of course, people who are very seasoned and been in business for a long time. And I have male and female, and of course, I have a whole diverse group of ethnicities who I lean in on to help me in my coaching. But again, once I get the information, I make it my own. And then, of course, my peers. We have sessions often and all the time based on what we're experiencing. And this year has been tough, from the pandemic to the social justice issues. We have had to lean in on our peers to make sure that we can just get through each day because we are experiencing trauma with everything that's happening. But you've got to make sure that you find a way to heal yourself and be true to yourself and take care of yourself as well. And then I can't say it enough, the grit, the self-confidence, the self-reliant, always part of my vision. And this quote is so important. And so I put it here again. In life and in business, we have 2 options. We can make excuses or we can make changes. Which one is going to get you closer to where you want to go? So just keep that in mind. Positive energy and positivity is really important. And so I think that quote helps to put all that together. Excuses, not an option. Change, yes. And so as I close, I wanted to just give you my top 10, and you can keep that slide up, Sherry. That's my information if you wanted to connect with me. But I'm going to give you some of my top 10 that help me get through the day, and I do keep this with me, and that is be accountable. Own up to it when you're good and when it's good, but you must own up to it when it's not all good. Be organized, be relevant. And so you've got to keep up with the trends in my industry, public relations, communications. I must keep up with the trends from social media changes every day. And so you've got to remain relevant. Protect your intellectual property. I'm going to say that again. Protect your intellectual property. I'm going to say it one more time. Protect your intellectual property. Relationships matter. Surround yourself with positive people, positive energy, and those who push you to be your best. It does not mean that they're always going to be your cheerleader and tell you all the great things that you're doing. My mom always told me, Gail, the best friend is that friend that tells you when your petticoat is showing. Yeah, she was a little older, so that might be your slip for those of you who don't know what a petticoat is. But your best friends are those who show you and tell you when your slip is hanging. So you want to be able to surround yourself by people to push you to be your best, not always the cheerleaders for all the good things, but they want to help you get to your next best by telling you the things that you can improve upon. Collaborate with or hire those who have the strengths you may not have. So you know what your strengths are, assess them, and those where you have an opportunity to shore up, collaborate with the person as a subcontractor or hire them. Step outside of your comfort zone. And so for me, prospecting is something that it's not my thing, but it has to be my thing if I want to grow my business. So that is in 2021, that's the thing I'm working on. Being more comfortable, stepping out of my comfort zone to prospect. Tough for me, but I've got to do it if I want to grow my business. You know where you need to step out of your comfort zone, find it and push yourself. Be consistent, be adaptable, and be flexible. If nothing else from the pandemic has shown us, we have got to be nimble and we've got to flex. So these are lessons that this pandemic has taught us. And I think we hone those skills and strengthen those skills so that we can grow our business. Set expectations so there is clarity on what you expect and how you expect it to be done. As you begin to bring more people into your fold, do not compromise on your vision, your reputation, and how you want to show up to your customers. You cannot compromise on that. You might get some hiccups along the way as people are learning, but you cannot compromise on it. It's your business, it's your reputation, it's your brand. And then believe in you and believe in your team. You know, as we grow, our team will grow. We've got to be able to believe in our team. And for me, you've got to keep your faith. Yes, it gets hard. Yes, we have challenges, but I know that through God's grace and mercy, he or she will see you through the good times and the tough times. So I lean in on my faith and I lean in on what I know that strengthens me. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. We're in Entrepreneurship is such a gift. It allows me flexibility to be with my family as I need to. I can work in and between my family as I need to. It allows you to do some things that you have always dreamed of doing in a way that no one else can do it because it's your idea. It gives you an opportunity, and for me, to help others increase their wealth, job opportunities. That's the way we're going to be able to change our communities, is by allowing and helping other people grow financially and also in other ways. So enjoy the journey. I'll close there, Sherry. And I just want to say I thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. So proud of all that the Black Expo does every year. And so I'll pause there.
I'm muted again. I've been doing this all day. I'm telling you, everybody calls me the tech queen, the tech expert, and I've been
Yes,
muted
you
all
are.
day. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Stick around for our roundtable discussion. And so we'll see you back in a minute. First, I want to introduce to you, and we're wrapping up, folks. So we have our roundtable expert panel coming up, and we got a lot of emails in the last couple of days of people who wanted to participate, but they're solopreneurs who have work today, and everybody's been asking, is this being recorded? So yes, we do. It is being recorded, and so you'll be able to watch it on Facebook, on YouTube. Just letting everybody know. So this is going to be recorded, but stick around. We're hoping to get some questions for our panel. I want to introduce to you our moderator for this panel. He is much like me, what we call a serial entrepreneur. I have multiple companies, and so does he. And so I'd like to introduce him really briefly.
Kevin Lloyd, a serial entrepreneur, is the founder of Lloyd's of Columbus, LLC, ColumbusBlack.com, co-founder of Mile, Make Your Life Entertaining, co-founder of Venture Suite, Color Coded Labs, and the Ohio Collective. Lloyd is known for an exemplary career as a highly successful retail executive with more than 20 years of operational and customer service experience in his prior career. As an entrepreneur over the past 16 years, Lloyd has acquired a reputation for establishing strong brands and innovative marketing campaigns by leveraging lifestyle-based marketing, social media, and event activation engagement strategies. Lloyd is an active member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated and organizer with Columbus's volunteer organization Can't Stop Columbus. He holds a BS in accounting from Tuskegee University and is the past president of the Columbus Tuskegee Alumni Club and former first assistant director for the Tuskegee National Alumni Association North Central Region.
Hey, Kevin.
What's going on, Sherry? How are you?
I did it right this time. I'm not muted.
No, you're good to go.
Yeah, so happy to have you here. I'm going to go ahead and start introducing our other guests that haven't been, introduced yet. So next up, I will introduce Carla Gwynn.
Carla Gwynn has over 19 years of experience in individual and small business tax matters. She has been a Liberty Tax Service franchisee since 2002 and has operated multiple offices in Columbus, Ohio. Carla's tax practice specializes in tax preparation and representation for individual and small business clients. Carla is an enrolled agent, which is the highest level of professional credentials awarded by the Internal Revenue Service. Carla has active membership in the Ohio State Society of Enrolled Agents, National Association of Enrolled Agents, and National Association of Tax Professionals. She is active in her community as an advocate for entrepreneurship and economic development.
Hey, Carla.
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
so glad you can make it. I know your day is hectic today, like all of ours. So thank you so much for carving out this time.
Sure.
And I have one more guest to introduce. I'm so excited to have him here. He has a wealth of information on this topic and some very exciting things coming up. So next introduction.
Jordan Miller is retired chairman, Fifth Third Bank, Central Ohio, responsible for all bank operations, including commercial, private banking, and consumer banking. Territory included Central Ohio, Southeastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Prior to that, he served as CEO of Fifth Third Investments and was responsible for distribution of investment products and services to all consumers in the 12-state footprint. He is now a partner in a startup organization with intent to form a minority-owned bank. Currently serves as a board member of Columbus Regional Airport Authority, the PACT, and Columbus Metropolitan Library. He is also on the board of 2 for-profit corporations, a past member of the Columbus Partnership, and served as chairman for multiple fundraising initiatives.
Hello. Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Hello. Hi, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I guess-
I can hear
okay,
you and
good.
see you.
Okay,
All
well, it's
right,
great to
so
be with you.
Kevin, thank you. Thank you so much. Kevin, I'm going to let you take it from here and I'll bring Jill and Gail back up for you.
Outstanding. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it. Carla, Jordan, how are you this morning?
Very good.
Doing great, sir.
All right. Awesome. And then I have the pleasure of seeing Gail on the line. And Jill, I think you're on mute right now. Hey, Gail. And I think Jill is working through a couple of technical.
Kevin.
There you go. All right. Hey, Jill. All right. So listen, first of all, before we get started with this roundtable discussion, obviously we know a big focus is around job creation. So I'm excited for us to have this conversation, especially with our panelists. But before we get started, I just want to thank the Ohio Black Expo for the opportunity the great job that they're doing to pull together this event and this information that's critical for our businesses to be successful. So with that being said, we've already done the introductions, I think, of everyone. So I want to go ahead and kick it off. Our first question that we have that we want to talk about is, what do you feel is the biggest challenge or barrier that Black business owners have or that they face when it comes to hiring employees? And anyone can open it up. And obviously, we're going to have a very healthy dialogue around this first question. And by the way, there you go, caller. I was going to say, by the way, I forgot to say the ground rules. So when I ask a question, if nobody volunteers, I'll pick on you. All right. So we can have a little fun.
All right. I would say, just from my personal experience with actively looking for qualified talent, would be sourcing candidates, especially if you're looking for specific skill sets. So sourcing would be one barrier, and also the fortitude of not maybe knowing what the market is has to bear as far as salary, wages for comparative type positions that you're hiring for. So as a small business owner, you don't necessarily have some of the resources that a larger concern would, but you still got the same problems. So I would say sourcing, knowing the competitive landscape, and just being able to source qualified help.
Outstanding. I think that's a great start, Carla. What I want to do is I want to see if there's any additional things that anybody wants to add to that list. And then I want to come back and talk through what some of the recommendations might be. And as well as when you all share some of these things, feel free to share some of your experiences as well when we go back through it. But anything else to add to that list? So we have sourcing, obviously the competitive landscape, and then resources.
The other thing.
One of the things.
So Kevin,
Oh, wow. See, so guess what? That pick on you thing worked, right? Y'all see how everybody jumped out?
Everybody.
All right. So why don't we do this? Go ahead, Jordan. We'll come to you, then Gail, and then Jill.
Okay. Hey, thank you. I worked with a lot of companies. I'm a banker for 30 plus years. I put a lot of companies in business. I worked with a lot of companies, and everyone says the number one challenge is getting people, is finding talent. And that's true then, it's true today. I'm on board of companies, and that's all we talk about. Where do we get talent? One of the challenges is competition, right? So you've got to, and Carla mentioned this a little bit when she talked about sourcing candidates. Some small business can't pay as much as some of the bigger corporations. So they've got other things they can provide. So they've got to sell those other things to that individual. So they're probably not as bureaucratic as some of the bigger companies, and they probably can grow more flexibly throughout their career. Work for a smaller company, but that's one of the biggest challenges, I would say, is the competition, and obviously competing with pay, competing with benefits and things like that.
All right. So thank you for adding to that. I took those notes as well. Gail?
Just to add to that, financing. And so one of the things that I found as a challenge is when you're sourcing talent and competition, you want to be able to pay people fair wages. And so making sure that your financial portfolio can support that. And so for me, one of the things as we continue to grow is that ability to be able to sustainability, to be able to hire employees at a competitive rate and maintain them.
Thank you, Gail, for adding on to that. And then Jill.
so thanks, Kevin. I think for me, it's everything that everybody has said, but there's also an intangible there, and Gail touched on it a bit during her presentation. As a solopreneur, sometimes you feel like your company is transient. My company exists because I got this contract, because I got that contract. And so you do everything the contract calls for, which can be answering the phone, sweeping the whatever. You do it, right? And then there is that thing, okay, do I step out and call my business permanent? Am I in business for the long haul? Am I a contractor or a business owner? And so you try to do it all yourself because you don't know where the money's coming from, right? And if you feel transient, then you don't know where you don't even feel where the money is coming from. So I really think there's a solopreneur mindset, right? And that we kind of have to become employers in our mindset before we ever hire that first employee. And just trust. Gail talked about trust, and she talked about financing, two real important things. But I think that mindset is a big deal, you know. And am I going to have money in 6 months to pay this person? And have I ever been laid off before? Do I want to do that to somebody else? Do I want to put somebody back in the marketplace again? So I think those are some intangibles that stand between us and becoming employers.
Outstanding, outstanding. So thank you for adding on to that, Jill, and sharing those perspectives. So I think we have a pretty comprehensive overview as to what some of the barriers are. I know leading up to this, I took a look at it myself as a business owner, and I had a number of the things that you all indicated. So I had finances, I had delegation and trust, I had the knowledge of understanding when you need to actually scale up and actually hire somebody, bring them on the team. And then the experience, right? You know, Jordan, you talked about working for companies, and obviously there's experience there. But a lot of people who are solopreneurs and they started their own business, they don't have the experience of actually even hiring somebody and what that process looks like. So I think there are a number of factors, and I think you all are hitting it on the nail. So obviously there's a lot of people who are watching that are saying, yep, that's exactly the situation. But obviously we're about solutions. So what are some of the tips, tricks, and or learnings that you all have had and encountered where business owners can actually overcome some of these challenges or barriers? So let's jump into some of those thoughts or recommendations, which you all have seen, worked, learned, and so on and so forth.
So I had the benefit of having some HR training from my banking background in the corporate world. So I was able to transition some of that information when I started my business. But here recently, within the last 6-7 years, I've automated my hiring process. So I've taken that step using technology to help with the onboarding process, the interview. Indeed has been very helpful in sourcing candidates and taking that whole interview to onboarding process and making it automated. So using that interface, also making my payroll process automated, making my scheduling automated. So anything that you can use technology to help you streamline your HR process I would recommend that to any small business owner. I've had as many as 40 employees over time, and now I'm down to just about 10. So the processes are the same regardless of the number of employees that you have.
Outstanding. Carla, thank you for sharing that. I think the automation piece is critically important. So, but I'll open it up for additional. I think we'll come back to what that can look like as well for us.
Yeah, I would add,
and we can keep the same flow. So yeah, Jordan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just add to what Carla said, some really points there. But I think the number one thing that I look at whenever I hired people was clarity about the role. You had to be very, very clear, and it takes some time to get clear about what you want. And I think Gail mentioned in another presentation about some things you have to let go. And those some things that she said she's not good at, like prospecting, I think she mentioned. Mm-hmm. So you find somebody that can complement your skills, but you have to be clear about what that job description looks like, what it is, and what you want people to do. Because if you don't have that, chances are you're not going to get that when you hire someone. And the cost of a bad hire is pretty steep, right? I mean, we've all experienced having someone that didn't work out, and not only does it could potentially ruin a friendship, it can cost you a lot of money from a corporate standpoint, and they can screw up a lot of your customers as well. So, I would say clarity for me was the number one thing that I needed to get right.
Okay. Thank you, Jordan, for adding that. Absolutely. Role clarity is critically important. What am I doing? What do you want me to do? Right. So sets the tone. And obviously from a measurability standpoint, accountability standpoint, a lot of factors that come into play there as well. So thank you for sharing that. Gail, we're coming your way. Any tips or tricks to overcome some of these barriers, especially from your learnings?
Barriers to hiring people. I think Jordan said it so well, and that is making sure that you have your job description clear. When I talked about in my presentation, that HR professional to really help you hone in on the exact skills that you're looking for, the exact responsibilities of that employee that you're looking for, what does success for them look like and how do you measure that, and then making sure that they understand that. I think the other thing for me is fit matters. And so as you're looking to hire and employ people, you've got to make sure that that fit with the culture it matters. And so barriers related to that really can help your business or really make your business very difficult, because if you don't have the right fit with the team, it really can be detrimental to the entire team.
Culture fit, critically important as we talk about team dynamics. So thank you for sharing that wisdom as well, Gail, and we can circle back around that. And then Jill, any tips or tricks from you that you want to share, recommendations? And then we're going to go a little bit deeper here, by the way, after this.
Okay. I would probably think about whether or not I'm ready and my company is ready. And what do I really need? Who do I really need? And I don't want to be all woo-woo and spiritual, but write it down. Write down where you want to go, your vision for your company, and figure out how to make that a part of what fit looks like. Because you could have somebody who comes into your company who has no clue about the vision of your company. And yeah, you tell them, but they still don't quite get it. So you got to figure a way to communicate that to them. And it's sort of like Jordan said, you've got to figure a way to delineate roles. So my best friend may be an amazing CPA. She may be the best numbers cruncher in the world, but I hire her. She comes in as my best friend and starts getting in my pocket and telling me what I should be spending and what I should be doing. I'm acting as a co-founder versus acting as my money person. So I think that really matters, but just to write down and be really clear about what you need, where you see your company going, and getting structure together. Just because you need a staff person doesn't mean you're ready for a staff person. Just because you want to be a boss doesn't mean that you have the temperament yet to be a boss. And maybe it's going back to that coaching thing that Gail talked about. Be really critical, because when you hire somebody, you're playing with their life, their money, your life, your money, and you're accountable. So be ready.
All right. So listen, y'all. I host a show for those that don't know, and on this show, or multiple shows, right, that are all virtual. When knowledge is dropped, I start doing this, right, and people are starting to understand that means that gems are being dropped. So y'all are dropping some gems on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it in because I can't hold it in anymore. So we're about to have a little bit of fun with that. All right. So let's go back, because I'm hearing all kind of things in here. And this is the thing, is sometimes we have knowledge because of our experiences and we get it. Right. And we talk about it in such a subtle way. But to people who don't know because they haven't been there yet, they don't really understand that. So I'm going to go back, and Jill, we're going to go a little bit deeper on some of the things you just shared. Right. Because what I picked up from that is what normally happens with startup founders or solopreneurs, which is we are grabbing anybody we can, right? Help me, help me, help me. So it could be a family member, it could be a friend. It doesn't mean that they're the right person. Going back to what Jordan was saying, the role clarity, and Gail was saying with job description, right? So as we go back to the basics of helping people who don't have that resource right now get started on the right foot, the right track, before they waste the time, the energy, the money, and the friendships, right? Or the family relationships. Let's think about that solopreneur. who's like right now trying to figure it out. They already have something up and going, but they're doing it themselves. They're overwhelmed and they need help, but don't even sometimes realize they need the help. So how can they really get started? That's what I want to hear from you all, because we've all been there at some point in time. What does that look like? So if we were able to give them like step 1, step 2, and step 3, what would that look like from you all?
I'll start if that's okay.
Go ahead,
First,
Gail.
you have to do the assessment based upon what Jill and others have said. You've got to do the assessment internally. First, assess yourself. Are you ready to do this? Do you have the capacity to do this? Not only from the business part, but from your self part. Assess what you have, assess your resources, do that assessment and go deep with that before you take yourself to the next level of entrepreneurship and before you bring other people on. So do that assessment. Also, you've got to do what the Key Bank family was talking about, and that is getting your financial house in order. If it's not on paper, it does not count. So get your business model, your business vision, put it on paper, and then also think about your finances and make sure that you're assessing those and where you are. I have more, but I'll pause there.
Okay. So she's willing to share the wealth with those gem drops. All right. So who's next? Who wants to add on to that as we talk about the initial steps to get rolling?
It's not much after that, really. I think getting assessment is good. From my standpoint, I'll talk about the finances just briefly, and I think it's understanding your cash flow. What can you afford? And then how do you if you know you're not competitive, I mean, which a lot of solopreneurs are, right? They know they're not going to be competitive on the hiring side because they can't afford to pay, and they have to chunk down the responsibility of that person, really hone in on the 1 or 2 skills they really need. They can help their business, or they can respond to what their customers are asking for, and you really got to. And that's part of that assessment, right? Knowing what you need and understanding your cash flow so that you can chunk it down and get what you want. You might only be able to get a part-time person. If it's a skill set, if somebody picking up the trash or something like that, or mopping, those are important jobs too, but a different kind of person, right? And you might be able to get away with family members or even teenage employees that can help part-time, come and clean up a building for you, whatever that is. But really understand what you need, and because that's going to determine how much you're going to pay them. That's going to determine how much you're going to have to sacrifice, and it's also determine how you're going to be responsive to your customers.
All right, and it continues. Gems are being dropped. All right, y'all. So make sure you really understand what you need. So you really need to take. Sounds like some introspection is critically important. Right, going back to that assessment that Gail was talking about, you have to take the time to sit down and think through, what do I really need? How does it align with my vision? And that will help again. So I know that there's I see some head shaking. What else do y'all want to add there in regards to the basics? Anything else?
So I think the only thing that I would add, or one of the things I would add, is, an entrepreneur is a special breed of person. We are willing to work 24/7. Is that one? Okay.
Oh yeah, those are gems being dropped.
And we all know that. So I think that, and we're okay with it, right? There is something different between a 1099 and a W-2 person. There just is. So when we now want to hire somebody, we have to learn how to manage expectations. I can't expect the person that I hire to come in and be willing or even want to work 24/7 the way I do. I can't expect them to work as quickly as I do, because this is my thing, right? And so it's in my bones, and I get it. And we don't often understand that the person we hire, this is not their thing. This is their check. This is their W-2 life, right? So I think we just have to manage expectations. I get in trouble a lot when I'm like, I look at, and it's also generational, right? There's a generational difference between how we work and our approach to work. But I get in trouble when I get disappointed because I'm like, it's 5 a.m. Why didn't you respond to my email? Well, not everybody is at their desk at 5 a.m. I don't understand those who aren't, but you know what I mean. So, I mean, we just have to learn to manage our expectations when we bring somebody into our enterprise.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's some serious gems being dropped there as well, y'all. Like, and I've seen this, right? Especially being a serial entrepreneur and working with different partners as well, is that, you know, when it's your baby, and you do everything to keep it alive. Everybody doesn't see your baby the same way that you do, right? So I think what you just shared is real. And as leaders and business owners, we need to understand that as well. Which why I think some of the other things that were shared earlier are so important, because if you have those expectations, you have that clarity, you've done an assessment of exactly what you need, how much you're willing to pay, it actually helps you get the right person, which is the most difficult thing, right? So, Carla, we're going to come back to you. Anything else that you want to share around any of this?
I would say agreed with all of the other comments. And just to add on to what Jill was speaking of is understanding what motivates your applicants. So in the interview, I always ask, you know, why do you want to work here? What are you working for? Because that provides some clarity. Everybody's not always in it for the most dollar. You know, my job site offers flexibility and also learning opportunities. So if you're willing to learn, then maybe this is the choice for you, and you're motivated by that versus, you know, how much you're making per hour. So I try to look for what is the motivation and pair that with what my needs are.
Outstanding. That's really important. You know, it makes me think about one of the things I talked about from my experience is what I call a get to know. And I think that's critically important during the interview process, but even post interview is getting to know that individual on your team and what makes them tick, what motivates them, what inspires them to actually do a great job. Because I think, you know, one of the things we talked about is the barrier to hire, but it's also the barrier to or obstacles to retain, right? So, because, you know, Jordan mentioned earlier, it's costly when you lose folks. So you don't want to hire and spend all that time, energy, money, get them on board, train them, get them up to speed, and then let them go because of something you didn't understand about them when it comes to the team piece, right? Or personal side of things. So thank you all for sharing that. So I want to open it up for resources, right? So some of you may have used some resources that are out there, but if I'm a solopreneur and I'm trying to figure it out, I'm thinking about hiring, I've done what you said. I wrote down my vision. I know exactly what I need to do. What additional resources are you all aware of that may be out there for small business owners to get some of the support they need? You know, Carly, you mentioned automation. A lot of people have no idea what you're talking about, right? Like, they're like, what do you mean automate, right? And all these things are out there. What are some of the organizations or agencies that you all are aware of that people can get connected to?
Well, not so much as organizations, but you know, I was blessed to have a couple of colleagues that are in the HR profession to help advise me and do some of my job fairs in the past. And so I would say reaching out for that information, you know, to help make sure that you're in compliance with workplace rules and things like that. But I've used several different platforms like Indeed, Bamboo, HR, ADP, in order to automate my process. So when I say automate, that means all of that stack of paper that used to be there when you have new hires, that's all digitalized so that I can send out a link to a prospective applicant. They can complete all of their new hire paperwork without even coming into the office. You know, it's all streamlined, things that I hate or that I used to take hours to do. It's all there at a touch of a drop. So, you know, that's what I mean.
I want to jump in there for a second. She just dropped a really big gem in there, right? And that was about things that you don't like to do. Those pain points. Now, there's things that you may not like to do as an entrepreneur, and there's things that you just can't do as an entrepreneur. You know, we wear multiple hats when we first get started, but somebody mentioned it earlier. I think it was Gail, right? Like, you have to use resources and contractors at some point in order to help you grow the business, because you don't know everything, right? Like, you can't be the HR expert, the marketing expert, the financial expert all at the same time, right? So I know at the beginning you don't have the resources to outsource all those things, but at some point, which is important to do what she mentioned that I thought was a big one, advisors.
Mhm.
Who are your advisors, right? Who are your mentors that are already in business that can help you? People like who you're watching right now, critically important to establish those relationships with those who actually have some experience that can help guide you to some of these resources. Jordan, did you have something to add there as well?
Yeah, I can throw in a couple things. I'm there right now. I'm just starting a business, so I've helped a lot of businesses throughout my banking career, but I've never been an entrepreneur. So I'm getting some great stuff from Jill and Carla and Gail. This is great for me. But the first thing I look at when I'm talking about hiring, I look at my Rolodex. I had a boss that used to tell me, said, Jordan, everybody in my Rolodex looks like me, you know. So he's a white guy, and he wanted help with diversity. So he asked me for my Rolodex, if I could get into my Rolodex. But that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking into my Rolodex. I'm going back through my career. I'm trying to understand all the positions I need that the regulators want me to have to start a business. I mean, to start a bank. And credit. So I was an investment guy. I did a lot of commercial lending and that stuff. But the credit is different, and understanding the good credit and having a good credit officer. I needed a CFO. So I went out and I started looking through my Rolodex. I started talking to folks in the banking industry. I said, hey, I need a CFO. I need somebody that's going to pass the regulatory test with the FDIC and the state regulators. And I found a great CFO. So we've got him on board. I'm looking for business development people now, people that can go out into the community and help businesses with loans and help business with their capital to grow their business. So that's kind of how I look at it. So I start that Rolodex, you know, which is like an outdated term because every Rolodex is automated today, right? You know, it's I'm huge on LinkedIn and I'm huge in all those contexts. But the first thing I did was go back to, I got a lot of buddies that started banks. I got a lot of guys I've worked with over my career. They started their own banks. So I called them first and found out how they did it and what they needed. And then when I talked to the regulators, I made sure I understood what kind of skills that they were looking for. And then I went through my Rolodex and I'm finding people, I'm talking to people all the time about it, and they're sending me people all the time that I just talk to and network with and find out if they're going to be a fit for the company that we're trying to shape and trying to form, to see if they're going to be part of the culture, to see if they want to do the things that it takes to be part of startup. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it right now.
So listen, y'all, he just talked about something that's so important, and that was his Rolodex, right? You've heard people say that your network is your net worth, right? And I know throughout my career, I used to always tell people, you know, when it comes to recruiting and finding great people, is great people tend to know great people, right? And that's your Rolodex. Those are your contacts. Those are people who you can reach out to. You've built some kind of relationship with them. Normally, if they're not good people, you tend to not still have them around, right? So tapping into that Rolodex is critically important, and some of the resources you need are literally right there. So, but it's all about how you take a look at it. So thank you for sharing that, Jordan. That was a big tip for everybody, because sometimes we're looking in the wrong directions for the right things, you know? So, all right.
Well,
Gail,
I
Jill,
want
you
to
want to
add
add?
to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we talk about the people we know, but let's look at the organizations that we know. For example, in my business, public relations, I have Public Relations Society of America. I have Black PR Group. We have those organizations, HBCUs, the organizations that we have in our HBCUs, the Black MBAs, the national this, the national that. Those organizations have such great information, but they also have great talent. So start with those organizations. And for me, when I was starting my business, I looked the MBAC, a wealth of resources, the Minority Business Assistance Center, free. They will help you with any and everything you need, and they will help guide you along the way. And then, of course, the City of Columbus, its resource center, the Minority Business Diversity Inclusion Office, the county. These are resources that are free. They will help get you connected. They will help connect you with people who can help you. So take advantage of those resources. But I cannot underscore, particularly when I was in corporate America, I leaned in on HBCUs, the Black organizations, to do my hiring, because as we all know, if we've been in corporate America, those hiring pools that they send you, they are not diverse. So I would reject them and then send them to those organizations. Those organizations really really are a wealth of support for what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gail, for dropping some of those gems. Appreciate that. Some local resources and some non-local resources that she just shared as well. And Jill, we'll turn it over to you for some additional.
I think the only thing that I would add, it's pretty much been said, is that ask somebody, but ask somebody smarter than you. And ask them and be okay with it. You know what? I know a lot of people who are smarter than me. I can't even make change in my head. So if I've got a math issue, I'm gonna go to somebody who is, who can do math. And get rid of that ego thing. Entrepreneurs are driven, we are fierce, we believe our ideas are great, right? And that comes with a little ego. And every now and again, Gail talked about having coaches. Every now and again, you need to seek advice from somebody who is smarter than you and acknowledge they are smarter than you. It has nothing to do with their station in life, has nothing to do with their income. They may bring something to the table that you just don't bring.
Right.
It just is. And be okay with it. Drop down all the ego stuff and go and say, you know what? I don't know. I couldn't get a job at McDonald's because I don't know how to make change. So I'm gonna go to the mathematician. You know what I mean? And you should always know somebody smarter than you. You should never be the smartest person in your group. You just shouldn't. I think it was Keith Troy who used to say that. If you're the smartest person in your circle, you need a new circle.
Wow, there you go. There you go. You got Gail over there dropping gem drops, Jill.
Yep.
You're knocking it out. All right.
Yep.
Good stuff. So really, really important nuggets that she just dropped there. And we appreciate you sharing that. I think we're going to come back to some of that as well. But before we do that, I actually want to go to Jordan because, Jordan, I know we're going to lose you in a few minutes, right? One of the things that I want everybody to think about is as we think about our business owners that are listening to this right now, y'all have dropped mad gems, some great tips and things for them to actually work on, right? For those that are saying that first thing that was mentioned, finances, right? I don't have the financial resources to actually hire someone, but I know that if I could get one more person on board that could do these things that are slowing me down, I could drive my business to the next level. How can they get those dollars to help them get over that threshold? Because one of the stats that I heard, I think a couple of years ago, was that I think it was like $50,000 is what like your average business owner is making annually. But if they can get 2 or 3 employees, it takes them to $250,000 a year instead of 50, right? So any tips there? We'll start with Jordan. Any recommendations, especially because you're kind of going down that path yourself?
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Because I do have to drop off here in just a couple of minutes, and I appreciate being part of the panel, so I want to say that before I leave. But the one thing that can help you if you're organized. If you're organized and you have good records of what you've done and your cash flow and the money that you've made and your expenses, if you've got good records, you may not have an accountant, but if you've kept really good records, a lot of banks will help you. A lot of banks can see, hey, look, this person's kept a lot of detail, they kept a lot of records, and now they know what they need. So if you've done that throughout your entire business, now you can go to a bank with that information and they can say, hey, look, this person's organized. And that's the kind of people we want to lend to. I always say the number one thing I would look at when I was working with a business owner, because you come in, people got ideas, and it's not the ideas that are going to sell as a banker, because I've heard every single one of them. It's the organized person and the commitment. And we talked about entrepreneurs and how they work and how they make a go of it and all the things that they have to do, finding people that are smarter than them and people that can take them to the next level, complementing their skills, all of those things. And that's kind of what I looked at whenever I had a person that came in that was kind of at the beginning of a business cycle, or maybe in the middle of a business cycle that was getting ready to take it to the next level and had a new contract coming up, but they needed to get that person. I said, they had good records. I could sit down with them or have someone sit down with them, and we could work through those records to kind of project what their prepayment plan, what their repayment plan would be. Because if I make a loan, the first thing I'm looking at is how you're going to pay it back. And it's going to be paid back from the business. It's going to be paid back through the cash flows that you generate, not from the collateral. I might take but that helps me, but that's a secondary source of repayment. That's not what I'm primarily looking for. So I would just say that, and And let me
Okay.
just end because I got to go. But I appreciate being on the panel. I'm sorry I had to cut out so soon. But thank you
That's
all,
fine.
and I learned a lot from the fantastic women that you have today. So Kevin, good catching up with you too.
Same here, Jordan. And thank you for your time. We know you have to go, but y'all, he just dropped some serious gems before he got out of here. We wish you the best. We'll see you soon, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So listen, y'all just heard it from the person who literally was on the other side of the table. So he just gave you the answers to the test. He's telling you what he would be looking for in order to give you some funding to help you get to that next level to keep building your business, right? So we talked about the foundation. We're talking about some of those tips. I want to keep that going. That was a segue. So what do you all think, right? So from what other tips do y'all have in regards to those that are in that situation that are saying, I know if I could get this amount of money, it'll help me grow where I need to grow, because y'all have been there before. So any other tips there?
So depending on what the job is that you're, or position that you're trying to fill, you may be able to get some stopgap help through college interns. I've used college interns previously, paid and unpaid. So that gets you some talent in the door to do some specialized projects or duties. One other resource would be the workforce development folks to provide some on-the-job training dollars possible for your company. And then from a tax standpoint, the work opportunity tax credit is a valuable resource. It's on the back end for tax savings for people that you hire from targeted groups, but it is the same tax credit that your large big box employers uses, like Walmart, Target, any of the big box companies. And this tax credit is available to a small business employer of any size. You just need to have, actual employees, not 1099 folks. So those are financing resources that you can utilize if you're depending on, no matter what size your business is.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing that. Those are some nuggets, right? Y'all got those gems. All right, she's still dropping them. Who's next? And then we're going to actually go to a couple of questions in the chat after that. So Gail or Jill, either one.
So I think I would say, and this is sort of the other side of that, or another part of that, to build capacity, consider doing business with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a big piece of work out there and you don't necessarily have the capacity right now to do it, but you could, maybe there is somebody else, another solopreneur, another small business owner that you can partner with to get the work, which adds dollars to your bank account, and it helps you to scale up that way. And so you're making the money maybe before you bring in the person on, but you've added capacity because you have partnered with another company. And a lot of public sector jobs right now, or RFPs that are coming out, do allow for bundling. They are breaking the big jobs down because they recognize, or some agencies recognize, that these big giant elephant bite of a contract things were creating barriers. They were trying to make their numbers, but they were creating barriers to small and minority firms. And so they are allowing them to be broken up. And so that is a way to build capacity and it's a really cool karma thing too, right? But doing business together and getting those big contracts and scaling up that way.
Wow. Thank you, Jill. That is a big one. It takes you, earlier she talked about letting that ego go. And sometimes you got to realize you're in business to run a profitable business. And part of being in business and being successful is being strategic, right? So leverage the strategy and think about how you can generate more business. And I think that's a great one. And I think that's a phenomenal segue into Gail, because that's how, just to be very transparent, that's how my business grew. I was able to work with Gail on some projects, and it helped me to grow. So thank you for that. And that's a great segue. So Gail, anything else to add on partnerships, collaborations, or any other tips or wisdom on how people can generate some dollars to hire and staff up.
I don't have much to add to that. That's exactly what I was going to share is, Kevin, you say it helped you grow, but our collaboration helped us grow as well. And so it's a win-win, Jill, when you said collaborate with others. I do want to add, collaborate with others who have similar vision.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
you must do that, because otherwise it could be a disaster. So you want to make sure that you collaborate with people who have similar vision and who are willing to support your growth as you support their growth. And so the way that we're going to continue to get some of those big contracts is that we collaborate together. And so that's a huge one, Jill, that you touched on for me, because that has allowed me to meet a couple of my goals, help others grow, and also help my business grow.
Look, well, call me, Gail.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
There you go. That's how it works right there, y'all. That's how it works.
It really does.
And
It really does.
you got to know who is the prime and who is the sub.
That's right.
Whose name is on the contract and who is the sub? That's big, with vision, with that whole esprit de corps and working together, great and everything. And I had a partner say that to me, because I was like, well, it should be this way and it should be this way. And, I'm telling her what to do. And she had to explain to me in the nicest way possible, I am the prime and you are the sub. And I had to accept that. It was real, right?
Yeah, it's all right. And you make the money and you keep on going. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because, by the way, there's a lot that comes along with being a prime. Okay.
Yes,
so be careful what you ask for.
You're taking all the
yes,
risk.
indeed.
Taking all the
Absolutely. Yeah, it's serious. So I appreciate the opportunity. And those are some major gems dropped there, y'all. So take heed on that one. And now we're gonna jump into, I mentioned we're gonna go to the panel questions, and we have one, and it says, when bank loans is not an option to pursue, is crowdfunding done appropriately a path? Now, this is an area that I'm pretty comfortable in, but I'll open it up in case anybody else wants to jump in there before I weigh in.
I can't make change in my head, so I'm gonna let.
Okay.
And Kevin, you're the expert in that, so I'm going to yield to you. You are the expert.
All right. So here's what I'll share. So crowdfunding can definitely be a great, especially in this day and time, right? Things have completely changed in regards to how you can raise capital to run your business. And crowdfunding is one of those ways to do it. Now there's two different ways to do crowdfunding, right? There's general crowdfunding, which basically means that people are supporting you, they're providing you with dollars, and they may be getting, like if you use a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign, for instance, they are going to get something in return, and that is normally some type of product, some type of advanced access to something, but they really are supporting you, your mission, your brand, and what that is. And then they're happy just getting some type of gift in return for what they're doing to support your effort, right? Then there's equity crowdfunding. So part of the legislation that actually went through when Barack Obama was president basically leveled the playing field, right? Because today you can't invest in startup companies, for instance, unless you're what they call an accredited investor. So that means that you have to make over $200,000 a year as an individual, $300,000 a year as a couple, and have $1 million in assets that does not include your primary residence, right? So when you think about it, especially in our community, there's not a lot of people who you can go to that literally either make 200 or 300 or have $1 million in assets, not including their home, right? So that pie gets smaller and smaller. Well, with this legislation that passed, it allows us now as individuals to be able to contribute through an equity crowdfunding platform to support businesses for as low as $100, $200, $300. We can now get in on those businesses. So for you as a business owner asking that question, you need to decide which way you want to go, right? Is it a situation where you have a business where you're just like, hey, I just want to raise this money and I'm gonna give people something in exchange? Or is it an equity-based type situation where you want to raise a certain amount of dollars, but you're allowing people to have a stake in your business as well? And normally that's aligned with missions and visions and purpose, right? So if people are aligned with your business idea, they tend to want to support it. So those are a couple of the options that are out there. So hopefully that helped with that particular question. All right. So we have a few minutes left. Let me see. My community development consulting services are in demand. but folks want free advice, except for a couple of clients. I need that breakthrough statement to seal the deal. Any thoughts? Free advice. Go ahead. I'm listening, y'all.
I'll start. I see Jill ready too, and I see Carla ready too. So here's what my dad, who was an entrepreneur, he said, if you don't value your work, no one else will. And
Exactly.
so you must value your work. And yes, you can't give it away for free.
Right.
Now, I will say, if you have a pet project or if you have an organization that you want to support and do pro bono work, that's fine. But if it's your business, you no longer, Mr. Community Development Consultant, you no longer do free services. You just don't. You just don't.
Right.
So, and you have to stay true to that. It's hard because we have big hearts. And as it's a Black community, we really do want to help all.
Right.
It's hard. If you don't value yourself and your worth, no one else will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Major gems there being dropped and reaffirmed by the others. Y'all want to add on to that or leave it there?
The only thing I would say is, first of all, I choose my charities. So, you know, that. And I think I can speak for Gail when I say we have ready answers to these questions because it's come up so much. It comes up so much. So I choose my own charities. I don't discount myself. And this is crude, but in Mr. Community Development Person, in conversations where somebody is trying to pimp you for information, keep your skirt down. And you know, there's a point at which you are consulting and not just having a conversation. So all you have, if it's intellectual property or power, that's all you got.
Right.
Don't give it away. Keep it. What is it? The barn door closed. I'm mixing that. I apologize.
She's like, it's like change, but she's dropping it anyway. She's dropping them gems left and right. All right. Carla, you want to add on to that before we wrap up?
All I can say is I agree with the other two ladies. You know, you have to have a measured response depending on the situation, but your intellectual property is what your livelihood is. And, you know, depending on the situation, hey, everybody has a tax question, and I'll try my best to help. But if it gets too involved, you know, I have to charge for my services. That's how I eat. So,
exactly. Okay. So, and listen, one of the things that you all need to understand, and I learned this early in entrepreneurship, right? You eat what you kill, right? So if you don't go get the business, you don't eat.
Right.
And if somebody's willing to ask you for free services, but you're not willing to say, hey, I got to eat, then guess what? You won't get fed.
That's right.
So, and just as comfortable as somebody can ask you for free work, you should feel that comfortable to ask them to pay for what they're asking for, right? So, I'm gonna add this. The other day, I had somebody on the show. He said one of his mentors told him, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. So it's one of those situations. I said, I'm taking that one, right? And Carla, I think you may have missed it, but we're gonna get this one in there too, right? I had somebody on the show the other day. They said their mentor told them, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. So if somebody's willing to ask you, right, because they want something, you better be willing to ask them too. So we'll leave it there with that. So listen, y'all, we're literally down to like our last minute. So any final remarks? Like if you said 15 seconds, this is what I have to say before we wrap up. We're gonna start with you, Jill. 15 seconds, real quick. What you got for the people? Ohio Black Expo.
Well, now you put pressure on me. I would say as a business owner, read, learn, ask, build up your structure, be ready, and just be ready.
Be ready.
All right. Thank you very much. Gail, you're next.
Believe in yourself, believe in your team, have faith, keep the faith, and enjoy the journey. You've got to have all those structures in place and you have to do all of that work, but enjoy the journey.
Right.
Enjoy the journey.
It is a journey. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Carla, you're next.
Be resilient. Make sure that your family, friends, associates are on your game plan. And if they're not, find new ones.
The people around you, so important, y'all. Well, listen, ladies, I want to thank you all for what you all have done. I know there's a question here directly to me, and the answer is yes. In regards to, can you do $300,000 without any equity? You can do that through a crowdfunding campaign. It might be difficult, but if you set it up the right way, got enough energy, and there's a great idea, great vision, great videos, promotion, it can happen. Okay, anything is possible. Okay, so yes. So with that being said, I want to thank Jill, Gail, Carla, and obviously Jordan Miller for joining us earlier today. Really appreciate him. Sherry, thank you for having us as a part of the Ohio Black Expo. Hopefully we have helped some people with some of the gems that were dropped during this last hour. Make sure if y'all want to check me out, columbusblack.com, you can check us out. Check out all the shows on there as well, and we'll be excited to have you. Make sure you follow us. I'm doing my shameless plug. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that. Back to you,
right.
Sherry.
All that. I want to thank all of you, and I didn't get to thank Jordan before he left, but I certainly will do that. Thank all of you today for your time. We did offer this obviously for free, and all of you were gracious enough to give us information that I'm sure you would normally charge a consulting fee for. So, but it's to build community, and
That's right.
I really appreciate all of you. I just want to say, so often, even just with this event this year, because it is virtual, and we had this post go viral, and a lot of people from other communities, I ain't naming no names, got on there and just were like, how can you have a Black expo? What if there was a white expo? You're racist. Number one, there are white expos all over the place all year long. And, a Black expo, being racist is about oppression. Like if you are using race to oppress someone else, that's racism. Lifting up your own people, focusing on your family, because we are all family, that is not racism. This is love. Okay. And if you're not Black and you watch this and you get something from it, okay,
Hey.
that's fine. We
Right.
we ain't, but yeah, I do appreciate you all being here. I appreciate the gems. I appreciate everyone that's joined us. I do know for sure this will get a lot more views on replay. We're actually streaming right now. It's hard to tell what the numbers are because we're streaming on 3 different Facebook pages and 2 different YouTube pages. So we'll see how everything looks when it's all mashed together. But thank you again for your time today. I know you're all super busy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sherry.
All right, everyone. So again, thank you for being here today. This was amazing. The gems were amazing today. I know some people had to jump in and out, so you can go back on replay and watch this at your leisure. I do want to say that for the Black Expo, again, we're virtual this year. If you're not in Ohio, I know we have a lot of people joining us that are not in Ohio. Save the date for next year. Memorial Day weekend, Ohio Black Expo. You are welcome to come from wherever you want. In the past, people have come from far and wide to join us at the expo. We'll be downtown in Columbus, Ohio on the riverfront for our expo and cultural festival next year, Memorial Day weekend 2022. COVID restrictions lifted, safe environment. We look forward to seeing you all next year. Also, this year, if you're interested in coming to Ohio, if you're not here also, we have the Classic for Columbus. It's an HBCU classic that's kind of being remixed. It's been a long time since there's been an HBCU classic in Central Ohio. So that's coming back this year for the first time after 25 years, a strong partner of the Ohio Black Expo. It's in August. I want to say the game is Saturday, August 28th. But of course, there are activities all week leading up to that. So go to classicforcolumbus.com to see that. We're actually going to roll a promo video so that you can see a little bit more about it. We're also going to roll our promo video for Ohio Black Expo. We have more events. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the memory epidemic. Many of you may not know that Black people suffer Alzheimer's and dementia at double the rate of white people. and at a higher rate than any other group. So it truly is an epidemic in our community. You probably know someone, an elder, and unfortunately, more and more now there's early onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. Even young people in their 40s and 50s that are getting it. And so tomorrow morning we're going to talk with the Alzheimer's Association. They're going to present on how to identify and how to deal with it if you are caring for loved ones. And then in the afternoon, we have a health and wellness workshop where we'll talk about mental wellness as it relates to all the trauma in our community, as well, and especially with our young people, as well as preventative measures for the memory epidemic. And then also, we'll be talking with the African American Male Wellness Walk, which is in multiple cities across the nation. They'll be talking about their initiatives that are coming up. I can't think of all. Oh, we'll be speaking to someone. Our health and wellness workshop is about taking control of your health. And so we have someone who did just that. He is a kidney transplant patient that was on the waiting list for a kidney for over 10 years. I mean, imagine being on the transplant list for that long. But he has a really unique story. I actually had a PBS special all about his story. So he'll be joining us to talk about that as well. On Saturday morning, we have an HBCU college fair. So spread the word. If you have any young people, any high school students, even middle school, our kids should be thinking about HBCUs. That's on Friday morning at what time? Friday morning at 9. I'm sorry, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. HBCU College Fair, obviously, because it's virtual, you can join from anywhere. So we encourage you to do that. Go to ohioblackexpo.com to sign up for the HBCU College Fair or the other two workshops that I mentioned. Again, encourage our young people to look at and support HBCUs. We are huge advocates for HBCUs. We need to save our Black institutions. That's definitely HBCUs, Black banks, other institutions, the Black church for Christians out there. These institutions in our community are crucial. So, we can't look to others to support them. That's on us. That's on us to do that. And a lot of HBCUs are getting criticism, and I won't weigh in on my personal. I'm probably one of the criticizers about opening up or marketing to other communities, but to get enrollment. But a lot of HBCUs have closed. And that's not all our fault. There are some systemic problems where HBCUs are being underfunded. But it's also on us as parents to send our children to HBCUs. So join our HBCU College Fair, ohioblackexpo.com. It's going to be on Saturday morning. Have all your young people, all the young people in your life sign up to speak directly one-on-one on video with some HBCU representatives. And then we have our Black Excellence webcast will be on Saturday at noon. And that is our last event. We also have a vendor marketplace that is open and free for Black businesses. You can also sign up for the vendor marketplace at ohioblackexpo.com. Your booth will be up from when you sign up, and we approve it all the way through Saturday. But on Saturday, during our webcast at noon, that's when you'll want to come as a vendor, come into your booth so you can talk one-on-one with people that visit your booth. So again, save the date for next year. What date did I say? I don't remember the dates, but it's Memorial Day weekend of 2022. Save the date, make your plans to come to Columbus and visit us. And I'm going to share with you what we have going on for the rest of the week, this week for the Black Expo, and then what's going on with the HBCU Classic for Columbus. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you later in the week.